Party people, what's going on? This is Samaj Marsh. I'm the founder of BlueDeathValley.com. And I want to welcome everybody back to another special edition of Inside the Valley, the podcast that's devoted to relentless coverage of A&T football. Of course, got to bring in my two co-hosts here. First up, former A&T wide receiver and a Greensboro native, my man, Dougie Fresh Brown. Douglas, what's going on, man?
What's up, guys? Aggie Pride.
We had fun at the tailgate, man, after the game Saturday. So we saw the Brick House family again. Got a chance to link up with them.
Well, it's always a good time out of the tailgate, man. But Saturday was just how you draw it up. Perfect weather. I got the kickback. Got there reasonably early, but definitely the last one to leave the property. So my kind of day.
Yeah,
kind of day.
Yep. And my main man, the brains of the operation, Mr. President, long-time A&T insider and the beat writer on BlueDeathValley.com for over 2 decades. Craig Turner, what's going on, Craig?
Hey, not much, man. Back for another week. Got another W. Move on to the next one.
Man,
CT.
You said.
Hey, CT. I like that hat, man.
Yeah,
I like
man.
that bucket. That's sweet, man. That's a good. Unlike your buddy's hat over there, he need to go ahead and throw that one away.
I've been
Hey,
Boo.
listen, we got a big game. We might be a little bit distracted tonight because me and Doug, our teams are playing in the ALCS, Houston versus the Yankees.
Who? Houston versus who?
Come on now. That's inappropriate. That's inappropriate. Hey, that's not official. That's not official Inside the Valley wardrobe, man.
Come on, man.
Hey, so we might be a little distracted throughout the night because we both checking the scores and looking and peeking a look at the TV. But we got a lot to talk about. We got a real fun show, a lot of exciting topics. So we beat up on Ed Waters like we're supposed to. Eddie Winslow got beat up like that episode on the show, Family Matters.
Yeah, man.
He left beaten and bruised like we want him to. Got a chance to play a lot of younger guys. See what that depth chart was looking like. And now we are going to take our focus up to Pennsylvania in a Big South conference matchup on Saturday against a 0-16 Robert Morris. And Craig, you say you watched some film and you weren't too worried about what you saw.
Edward Waters is no, not Edward Waters. Might as well be. Robert Morris is Robert Morris is they had some issues. They got some issues. They had some off-field issues during the summer, and they lost a couple kids, and they haven't been able to recover this year. Their offense has been real stagnant, and defensively they haven't really produced against the run. They're having a lot of problems with the run game. They put up a decent first quarter last week against Campbell, but then the wheels came off before halftime, and it was a rout.
Yeah.
They give up 30 points in a quarter. So
yeah. But we'll take a look.
It is what it is.
We'll take a look at them towards the a little bit later in the show, and also one of the hot topics on social media has been the attendance at Truist Stadium, and there's been a lot of chatter on if there's anything that can be done or how realistic should we be about the number of people who coming out to these games right now. I got some strong thoughts on that. I've been expressing it on the Twitter feed. But first off, we want to bring in a special guest because we know last Saturday we saw that Blue Death defense really just impose their will and dominate an overmatched Ed Waters team. And we got a guy right now who knows a lot about that defensive side of the ball. He was a former defensive end. And he has a lot of hardware for the show from his time at A&T. Let me bring in our first guest, Mr. Tre Small. Trey.
Hey, how's it going?
Man, it's a pleasure. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I can't complain, man.
Okay, so for you, whenever we get somebody from the golden era on the show, we ask them, where's the hardware? Do you have the rings around that you can flash for us? that you kind of
Actually,
stuck for a second?
actually, I'm out here in Denver right now. The rings are
Right.
back home in Charleston.
Okay. But you got them somewhere secure.
Oh yeah, for
If you
sure.
need to grab them, I got you.
Yes,
So
sir.
look here, man. We we're just gonna have a little fun tonight. But I want to talk to you because you got a unique perspective. You came to A&T, and I believe you were like an outside linebacker from Charleston, South Carolina, and I think you were probably about 235, 240 when you got here.
Yes,
And
sir.
then by the time you left after 2019, you were probably around what 275, 280, and you had transitioned to become a defensive end.
Yes, sir.
And,
Yeah.
and
So
Big Tre Small.
yeah, I know.
yeah, definitely big trade. Yeah, most definitely.
And so you play alongside a lot of guys who are still on the team now. You played with Devin Harrell, you played with McDaniels, you played with Carba,
Yep.
and you also played along with Daryl Johnson Jr. He's I think is in Seattle right now. So just kind of tell me about that defensive end position and how'd you make that transition first? Because I know you was a linebacker first time, right?
So yeah, I got the A&T. I was a heavier set middle linebacker, and I ended up dislocating my shoulder, which
Okay.
turned into a labrum tear. I think my sophomore year. So over the springtime of my sophomore year, I got surgery, and they transitioned me to defensive end just to see what I could do because I could blitz the quarterback really well, and I was bigger and I was able to like hold my weight on the line. So making that transition at first, I thought it was going to be a way harder than what it was, but it got easier because I had the vets like I had Sam, I had Bam,
Sam Blue. Yeah.
yes sir, Sam Blue. I had Bam to help me out. So like they taught me everything they knew, and then it became real seamless like that because going into my junior year, going to a new position, you don't expect really to play that much, but I ended up, being a lot of guys out and being able to be that number two behind Bam, and
Right.
being able to learn from him going into my senior year was real good for me.
Because I remember in the press conferences, Washington always spoke highly of you, and but so what was? Tell me how did you make that adjustment from standing up for your whole high school career, being in the middle, kind of rolling around, to putting putting your hand in the dirt, and have to go against guards and tackles, and that had to be some adjustment, right?
Oh, it had to be a major adjustment because we only like back in high school we only did it like maybe once every like 2 or 3 games, but I did rush from putting my hand in the dirt.
Okay.
But it was just natural, and I had some highlights on film, so I feel like A&T like said like, oh, we can have them do that. So just getting really back into the feel of things, soaking up everything from the coaches telling me, how to do it, how to put my, hands in the right places, play the run, play the pass, all that stuff. So, yeah, it was kind of difficult at first, but then, once I got more reps, it became a lot easier.
You put on almost 40 pounds in probably 3.5 years. How did? Because
Yeah.
I got a son right now who has metabolism like you wouldn't believe. How did you get that weight to stick and also turn, I guess, to muscle, so it wasn't this bad weight? How did that work?
Just eating at the calf.
Oh
but
man.
we got a pretty good strength and conditioning coach in Coach Walthall.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
We had anything you could ask for out of a nutrition desk. Protein shakes, bananas, fruit, et cetera, et cetera. So I really went into the protein. I knew being at 235 plus being like like a shorter defensive end around 6'1", 6'2", it was going to be more difficult for me to really be able to like put an impact on that game if I was still at 235. So I decided to go ahead and put on some weight and then just get in the weight room, man. There's off season, in season, just be very disciplined in the weight room and just try to, be as strong as I could be to be able to compete.
And what was your signature move? Because everybody has something that they use. I think Sam Blue had that spin. He had that spin of Rooney, and I remember we gotta get him on the show because I want to bring back that highlight when he played against Central and he just spin over that dude and almost destroyed him.
Oh
So
man,
so so what did you have? What was your move? They go to.
I think I had two. It's probably push and pull, and then just
Okay.
straight old school rip. Get that first 3 steps in the ground,
Yeah.
and then just get a bend the edge. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. And
So
so
yeah,
who is the person who kind of helped you hone that technique? Who's the main guy you leaned on for that?
Daryl Johnson for
Really?
sure. Like I said, he taught me all he could. Came like we was already really close before I transitioned to the D line room. Once I got there, like the relationship just went through the roof. You know what I mean? I became my boy. So any questions I had, I asked him. He was more than happy to help me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. So have you been following the current team, the current Blue Def defense? Have you had a chance to watch them this year?
it's, see, you know what? It's crazy. I have been keeping up, but I haven't been able to watch a game just because I play on Saturdays now too.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, so it's just like with our schedule, like figuring out for the past 2 years, figuring out when they play and when we play. I never really had time because we would always be on the road traveling. But I definitely do keep up with the scores.
But you played alongside most of these guys. Give us your take on that front line now. So we got McDaniels on one end.
Mhm.
Harold had a stinger. He had an ugly injury last game, but
Yeah, I
I
heard
think
about
he's
that.
on the road to recovery.
Hmm.
So he should be probably back this year. And then we got Carver, and he's one of the guys in the middle. I know you played with Carver. He's finally
Yeah,
healthy. He's
yeah,
finally
yeah.
healthy.
Long
So
time coming, man. I'm so
yeah.
happy for him, man. I'm so happy for him.
So
But
so so give me a little scout report on those guys.
uh, let's just start out with McDaniel's, man. Like when he came in, I was like, man, and I like, he didn't really look like a defensive end. He looked like an outside linebacker. But then when you
Yeah,
look at his tape for App State, like, the boy is a monster, and it showed on the field. Like him just get to the quarterback seemed like effortless for him. You know what I mean? So like him like coming off the edge, being powerful, finesse moves was like really, really like great to see. And then Cabo's always been one of the strongest people I know in the weight room.
okay.
And then like, he had a couple of long lasting injuries that was nagging him, but like now to be able to see him actually like play, like
Yeah.
it is all showing to fruition because I've known him for a long time, and I just know like whenever he steps on that field, bro, like he makes an impact, and like that's what you need on a defensive line, and especially on the inside too. And then Daryl Johnson, not Daryl Johnson, Devin,
Yeah,
Devin,
Harold. Yeah.
yeah, Devin's a monster too. Uh, you know, he was always like I think me and him started a couple of games together. So like
I think at 19 was when they kind of paired you guys as
yeah,
bookends, right? And it
yeah,
was you
yeah.
and him on either side. Yeah.
Yeah, so like me and him played a couple games together. Like we always used to tell each other, like, bro, hey, first one there. It's just simple like that. First one there. Because like there'll always be that like competition in the line room, like who had the most sacks, who had the most tackles, you know what I'm saying, et cetera, et cetera. So that was one of the guys I used to talk to about that. You feel me? Like having seeing all of them really like flourish or for like without past 2019 and stuff like that with the COVID year and then
Yeah.
now this year like it's really good to see that. It's really really good to see that, and I'm proud of all of them.
What Doug? We got a shocker though because so he had a storied career at A&T. He got all the rings. I don't think he has quite as many as Thanos, aka Lamar Reynard, right? But you got three. You got three in your
Yeah,
jewelry case.
I got 5.
You got five
He
because
got
you
his,
got the
man. He
conference.
got his.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
He
I got
longer than
confidence.
2. Trey been around for a
Yep,
minute
yeah,
too,
he's been
man.
around for a minute.
Yeah.
But his story didn't end at A&T because this is a wild story. Trey, you guys talk about these transitions. You transition from linebacker to defensive end, and then you transition from American football to rugby, right? And
Yes,
you have
sir.
had a great career as playing rugby here in the United States and abroad. You've been traveling too. How in the world did you get hooked up with rugby, man? Tell me that story.
Man, so let's go back to the beginning. So 2020, I took this semester at the house. Did
Yeah,
my internship at my old high school, helped coach football in the spring, also track and field, and then we got the news that COVID had happened, and our pro day got canceled. So it's just like, that was a big emphasis for me being able to get there. And after that, I ended up having a couple of offers from indoor football leagues, like here, and then I had offered to go play in France for football, and I was gonna go to France. Like that was like solid, like booked in.
So did you have an agent and all that kind of stuff?
Nah.
Okay.
I still don't.
Oh, wow.
It's all been me.
Okay.
So just trying.
Oh, hey, just cut you off, but I got some paperwork for you to sign as soon as we get off this interview. So we're gonna do some business. But go ahead. Don't worry about it. Don't read it. Don't read the paperwork. Just go ahead and sign it. And I'll take care of you. But go ahead.
Okay. But France was locked in. But the numbers started going up really, really bad over there, so that fell through. And then towards like October, is when everything started to open up, like just a little bit for us to have like that little window of opportunity.
Yeah.
So I had a ANC combine in Atlanta, Georgia. Went there, did that. I put up some pretty good numbers for like not being able to work out for like 2 or 3 months.
What was that bench? Tell me that bench press. Go ahead. I know you remember. Don't say you don't know. What you throw up?
The bench press never dropped below 350. I made sure of that. So it's probably about like 365 back then. It's probably about 390 right now.
How many times you threw up 225?
225. I think the most I threw up was probably 17, 18. Just because I got a really long wingspan. It's hard to keep going after that.
That's your numbers, Doug, ain't it? Ain't that your you about the same ballpark?
Don't do them like that.
Go ahead, man. Listen. Yeah.
But yeah, so I did that, waited a month, and then the team that I'm on now called me. It was like, hey, if you pay for your flight out here, we'll pay for everything for a week. You know what I mean? So I was like, hey, it's an opportunity. So I took it, and I thought the transition was going to be like super, super hard. It was seamless. Like you telling me all I got to do is run somebody over and make tackles? That's easy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
because in rugby, it's almost kind of like basketball, whereas you're playing both sides. So like you get your offense to defense changes depending on, right then who got the ball.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. So we did that. It was like a week-long camp. They offered me a contract after the camp, and I never left. We started out as the Exos, which means like strictly like crossover athletes. So we had football, wrestling, some basketball players that was playing rugby. You know what I mean? We was winning. So it ended up being a success. We transitioned to the American Raptors. So at our first year, like this, mind you, like last year was our first year of operation. At the end of the season, we went on a tour in Uruguay.
I saw that. Yeah,
we played their one of their national sides twice, beat them once, and then we lost by maybe 4 or 5 points after that. You know what I mean? That's really what put us on the map. And then it's been going on ever since. We got some big things coming. I can't really say officially what we doing next year, but it's some big things coming for sure.
Well, hey, Craig and Doug, check this out. I got some highlights. I did some research, and watch out. I got Trey in action, man.
All right. So new scrum half. We'll see how they adapt. The guts looking very impressive off of kickoff. His third consecutive take now, and he goes through strength through the big man right up.
Right there for the referee. Got to get with him now. He's isolated. We weren't 10. I don't believe the Loyals. The referee said play on.
Latu. A hand in there. Latu picks it right back up. Offloads it. Tre Smalls touches down. Third try of the day. Colorado Exo with back-to-back tries here in the second half and mounting a comeback. Tre Smalls on target here on the 64th.
So there you go. So Trey, that's awesome. Yes, so first of all, you rocking number 8. You look a whole lot leaner. And look, I think we missed the mark here because you could have been playing some offense for A&T with them type of wheels.
Just a little bit. I did play H-back in high school.
Yeah.
But I could have, but I don't know if that transition would have been too as seamless as it was for rugby, from defense to offense, because that playbook on offense is wide open. Sometimes our defense be like, just play. you know. So yeah, so I think I could have had a crack at it.
All right, so what's the biggest difference between playing with full pads and a helmet, and then it's going out there pretty much a t-shirt and you still super physical? How does that happen?
Man, when I first did research about rugby, and I was like, first team I watched was the All Blacks. If y'all don't know,
I know they were
yeah,
on Amazon. They have a
yeah, yeah, all or
inside the
nothing.
season documentary. Yeah, All or Nothing, All
Yeah.
Blacks. Yeah.
So when I watched, that's the main thing that got me like, okay, I think I can do this. Like watching
Yeah.
watching them, and they go through it. And it's just like they teach you how to tackle properly. Like, because I think in Seattle they started it in Pekin, back when they was running for like they had the back Super Bowl. So it's called rugby, like rugby
Rugby
technique.
tackle. Yeah.
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 So instead of putting your head across, like you've been taught ever since Pee Wee, you put your head
Behind.
behind. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you tackling with your shoulders rather than, your neck. So learning how to do that was like really, really the difficult part, because you've been taught like almost your whole life how to
Yeah.
tackle. You know what I mean? Now you want me to change how I tackle. Like that's really difficult. So the first couple of games was like, you get caught like, dang, I can't do that no more. Because it kind of it hurts a little bit the first couple of times. But like once you figure that out, and like, where to put your shoulder, like how to be like low, because like if you tackle somebody on the hip like every single time, like, you're gonna be safer, they're gonna be safe, and y'all can get up and like, go see y'all family and friends after the game. You know what I mean?
You know what's
'Cause-
funny? Because I was coaching youth football, and as our heads up certification, we had to study rugby tackling. Because
Mhm.
all the stuff that I guess when you was growing up and Doug and everybody else, when y'all were in the trenches, it was almost getting taught a little bit wrong. And then they found out that rugby had the better safety numbers, and
Yeah.
especially with the head injuries.
Takes the head out of it. Yeah.
Takes the head out
Yeah.
of it, and now that's like the standard. The way you guys are doing it in rugby is a standard now for all football.
Yeah, and that's amazing to see.
Yeah.
Because if you want to be honest, rugby in America has only been like almost relevant for about like maybe 5-6 years. So for us to have a crossover program, because the whole objective of this program is to put players onto the U.S. national team, which we've done. We've done like
Oh,
I think we got a guy that's on the national sevens team right now, David Still, and then we got a couple of guys that just went off with the USA team in South America and in South Africa to play on those two teams for the tours. So like we produce people, you know what I'm saying?
and what's the name of the team again, so we can all follow? What's the name of your team?
The American Raptors,
American. And you guys are based out of Colorado?
Denver, Colorado. Yes, sir.
Denver. Okay. Awesome. And so, and do you have like a specific position? How do they kind of organize you guys?
So like with the position, like 1 through 8 is the forwards, which are the bigger guys, and
Okay.
then 9 through 15 are the backs, which are like your quicker, more playmaking guys that can pass the ball, stuff like that. So right now they got me playing hooker, which is number 2. So
Oh.
number two, and I play 6 and 8 still. So those are 6 and 8 or more. So like the guys that's like linebacker, defensive end type guys that also can run the ball. Hooker's more like your guy that can be more skillful, like, but is also a bigger dude. You know what I'm saying? So it's really a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man.
I can't really complain, man. Like, because I like, at the end of my career at A&T, like I always say, I wanted to be in the league. Everybody wants to be in the league and play college football. And I seen what happened in 2020. I was like, man, if I can just get like a pro contract, like just be a pro athlete, it don't matter what I do. You know what I mean? Like just, that was a dream, and now I'm living it. You know what I mean? Now I want to expand the dream. Now I want to be able to play, in France or
Yeah.
South Africa, Japan, New Zealand. You know what I mean? So like that's really the goal for me right now.
So I was going to ask you, what's the NFL for rugby? What's kind of like the creme de la creme?
Creme de la creme for rugby is probably the World Cup.
Okay.
So the World Cup, you got countries that it happens every 3 to 4 years. The women are actually doing the World Cup now in New Zealand. Shout out to them, USA team. So like you got a 3-year process to qualify for the World Cup. So if you don't qualify for the World Cup, you're not in it. And I think I want to say 15 to 20 teams that's in the World Cup, and New Zealand, South Africa, and Australia are the top 3 teams, in my opinion, that have been like chasing the World Cup for like years. And I'm not talking like 20, 30. I'm talking like 100 years.
Wow.
Like a century. Yes. New Zealand rugby, the All Blacks have been like the top team in rugby for about 115 years.
And they're like rock stars too. You gotta see that documentary, Craig. It's on Amazon. It's called All or Nothing. And they are like the Lakers, the Cowboys, the Astros. Yes. They're like,
Yes. Like and then just recently the past 2 years, like rest of the world has actually finally caught up to them. Like you can actually see like more competitiveness, because it used to be like 70-0, 80-0. Wow. You know what I mean? Like against national sides. So like, like whenever we get a chance, like actually like watch a game, like that's like, either like Australia, South Africa, or like France, England, any of them, or even USA team, like we just want to watch and like soak up what we can learn, watch our position, like see what they do, because that's eventually where we want to be at, to be able to play at that high level of competition.
And see, Craig, listen, we always talk about like guys going from A&T and doing, amazing things, but now we got a former Aggie, remember Blue Death, and he's playing rugby in Colorado, and I'm gonna call it right now. I think he's gonna be on that Nationals team, the next couple of years. I can see that drive in you right now, same way it was on that football field. So we're gonna be looking out for that, man.
Trey, man, thank you. I gotta tell you, man, we're super proud of you, man. Trey's one of those guys that I had a chance to get to know off the field, man. Of course, he's one of those guys, when you turn on his high school tape, he was thumping people, and we were excited to have him. And a lot of that showed up in his rugby film. But once he got up to A&T, and he talked about the injury that he suffered, I got a chance to work with him during his internship, and got a chance to meet him and get to know his family a little bit. And he's an awesome guy, awesome kid. Great manners, the type of kid you want to marry your daughter if you had one.
Oh, okay.
He's that guy, man. But just really proud of the way you persevered through your injury, man. It wasn't easy, and then to come back and kind of have to throw yourself in the mix, right when we were, kind of on top of things, and you found your way and found your niche and found a way to make an impact. And I couldn't be more happy for you. You guys held up the trophy late in the season, and to see you kind of contribute and be one of those guys that was an anchor. You did it in a quiet way. You weren't a loud rah-rah guy. You didn't beat your chest a lot. You just made plays, man. And that's some of the things that we echo and we preach to those guys that kind of came behind you. Like, that we need more guys like that just get the job done, to understand what it takes to win, come from a winning program, winning background. And you just one of those guys, like when it was your turn, you stepped up. And we talk about Hero a lot, but you kind of were in that mode too of when your time came. There was no let off, regardless of what Thrill or anybody else thought about what the D-line may look like. When Tre Small rode out there, he was ready to go.
I knew. Now you know what I knew.
He anchored that side, man. We hadn't had too many guys that could sit down like that on the edge, and you didn't have to worry about him giving up the edge. I mean, you weren't gonna run through him, and you had a hard time getting around him. I think your speed and your quickness was deceiving to most guys. Like you said, you can run. We saw it in the video. You can run sideline to sideline, and that linebacker came out. And kudos to the coaching staff for finding a great way to use you, and not just have you, sit in line to play linebacker. They looked at your skill set, especially coming back from that injury, and you put in that work, man, and found a great niche for you. And impact player. So we appreciate you, man. You one of
And
those guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
How much you weighing now? How much you weighing now for rugby?
Dropped down about 250.
Okay. You still moving pretty good. Yeah.
Yes,
Anything else, Craig, you want to ask before we let him go? Craig, you there?
Yeah, I just want to say, Trey. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I just want to tell Trey that we appreciate everything he did here at A&T. And personally, Trey, what's your most fondest memory while you were playing ball here at A&T?
Fondest memory.
Hello?
Man. Shit, there's so many, man. Like, I want to say before I even got to A&T, like one of my recruiting visits when I came up was when Central came to A&T, and that's what Central brought out, like the chrome helmets. So like seeing that atmosphere, seeing A&T Stadium at its fullest, man, like that, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that, man. That's probably it right there.
Good game.
All right, Trey. So we're gonna let you go, but thank you so much for joining us tonight. And how can we stay up with what you're doing? What's your social media and all that kind of stuff?
So Instagram is gonna be LE Smalls, SMALS, the number 2.
Okay.
And then Twitter is gonna be TBigs 6 or 8, I think. Yeah. So just right there, I'll be reposting the stuff that we do, posting highlights and stuff like that. Make sure to just like keep up to date with everything.
And if somebody's in the Denver area and they want to come check you guys out, so how does your season run? Is it from what time?
So we've actually played twice a year, so spring and fall.
Oh, okay.
So right now we're like in a little like development season right now, just trying to fill out some new guys. Obviously, like I said, we got some big things coming in the spring.
Okay.
But they can come out to Infinity Park in Glendale, which is a suburb of Denver, Colorado. That's where our home games will be. Usually our home games are on Saturdays around 1 or 2 o'clock. If they want to know like the full detailed schedule, they can go to either the AmericanRaptors.com or the American Raptors on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay, awesome. All right, Trey. So, hey, man, we're gonna let you go, but we're definitely gonna be following you, and we're gonna try to bring you back too soon, especially when the full season comes on. Y'all start getting into some big games. Let us know, man, and we can talk all about that too.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. I got you.
All right, well, thanks a lot, bro.
I appreciate y'all for having me, man. Thank you.
No doubt.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Tre Smalls, man. That's
So
my
there
guy,
you go.
man. That's a good kid. He's a good kid, man.
Yeah, most one of the most underrated defensive linemen that's ever played here, really. Very
I know.
underrated.
I thought he was gonna be the next Ray Lewis at linebacker for a minute. We're looking at his film. I was like, man, that guy's big and commanding can hit. So, he was right at kind of like a tweener. My comp is Antonio Sleep Good from Dudley High School. It was kind of that tweener, about 200.
Antonio Good, I remember. Yep, I remember him.
He was built like that, man. Could kind of play both, and you just got to find a way to get him out there. And I think we actually found a good spot for him out there. But man, that rugby, man, I'm telling you, I want no parts of that. We got another guy that's playing, Joseph Peak, that used to played a few years ago. But them guys take on rugby. We have a bunch of guys who, whether it's flag football, rugby, pickup basketball, whatever it is, we have a bunch of guys, man, that, like you said, have a whole different athletic career after playing football at A&T. Because, I mean, you need something to get that energy out, that aggression out. Golf is it for me. My back and knees say no more to any of that active stuff. But speaking of knees, man, and I said I wasn't going to talk about Edward Waters, because I'm going to call him Edward Waters now. We're no longer disrespecting and call him Eddie Winslow. They are the oldest HBCU in the state of Florida. Older than FAM, older than Bethune. So I'm
Jacksonville,
I'm not going
to
give him a hard time on that. Other than the fact, man, it was the last time you saw an offensive line with no knee braces, man. The whole line. I've never seen 335, 6'5" guys dancing bears with no knee braces. Guys, we got to get them some knee braces out there. We don't do nothing else. I love the fact I had a great day. I love the fact that the band came. It was a great showing at Aggie Stadium.
Yeah, that was a really good band. That was, as far as a visiting band,
they were good.
It was unexpected. I walked in, I was like, oh, we got a visiting band. Who knew that Edward Waters was going to provide that
They had about
opposing fan
50
that we
people.
needed.
They had about 50 people when they were rocking the spot.
They rocked out. Everybody was
yeah.
talking about how much better they were than this.
Yeah, they were good.
And I said,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not
Oh, yeah.
fair.
Oh, yeah.
Man. That's
Mike,
not
this ain't
fair to
close.
talk
Yeah,
about.
way better. Way
About
better.
the sound chimes. Don't talk about the sound chimes like that. But anyway,
yeah.
man, I'm telling you, man, Edward Waters, bro. You know, other than the flagrant foul and the mischief at the end of the game and all the stuff they had going, man, they represented well. Nice fans. I'm glad they traveled. Again, I was really happy the band came up and added to the attendance and the atmosphere of the stadium. But it was a good Saturday out there, man.
And one thing about the Edward Waters game,
braces.
Yeah, we may do a GoFundMe or something for him. But one thing about that Edward Waters game, we got a chance to see the whole collection of our running back group. So Tootin, he tied the record. He tied Tariq Cohen for 5 consecutive games of over 100 yards rushing. Then he stepped out. He did that in like 2 quarters. Then he stepped away, and Gravedigger from Danville, he slid in there. He had a great showing, and then we saw first name Charlie, last name Dixon in the second half.
Oh,
the closer, Chuck D. He put the game away.
Yeah.
You know what? But so that running back, that RBU as they call them, they were in full form. But we reached out, and tonight for our second guest of the show, we actually got one of the original architects of that RBU. You know, when we talk about RBU, that goes back to really the beginning of A&T football, and it was specifically strong in the 80s. And this gentleman here was what was called bell cow running back. You know, somebody who you could just give him the ball, step out the way, he's gonna get those yards for you. Let me bring in a guy who I've been a big fan of for a while, Mr. Stoney Polite. Stoney.
Stoney.
Yeah, there you go. How you doing, sir?
Yeah,
Can you hear us? Can't hear you. Can you hear us? Uh-oh, connection's a little. Yeah, your mic. Turn your mic up. Can't hear you. Turn your mic up. Uh-oh, got some technical difficulties. Let's try it again. All right, so let me do this, Tony. Yeah, we can't hear you. Let me pull you back out and then check your sound because you got to have a mic so we can hear you. Let me pull you back out. So let me see. All right, so hopefully I'm gonna give him a second to get that worked out because I definitely want to talk to Stoney P. Now listen, guys, this was one of the most celebrated running backs that we had in the 80s. He played alongside Mr. Allen Hooker, and it was kind of like a 1-2 punch, man. Allen was throwing it, and he was handing off to Mr. Stoney. Let me see if Stoney's back here with us.
Hey, Chancellor Martin calling you.
Yeah. Hey, Stoney, can you hear us?
Yeah.
I still can't hear your sound. Oh man, we don't. So I can't hear you. We can't hear you talking. So you got a headset or anything? You might need a headset. We probably should have went through this before we got you on here. This is my bad. Oh man. Okay, so we're gonna try to work him out, man. So don't give up on Stoney. We got a lot to talk about with Stoney. We're gonna go take a trip down memory lane. We're gonna see if we get him back on here. Stoney, go ahead and work that out behind the scenes. But that's until we get Stoney back here. Let's go talk about Edward Waters and what we saw in that game. Because first of all, are you back? Let me see. We got him one more time. Oh. Stoney, can you hear us? Say something.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay,
yeah, we can hear you now.
So look, turn your sound off because it's delayed. So turn that whatever, like you're watching it. Because I think there's a delay in your
Say that again.
Because I think there's a delay in your sound. So turn like the background show off and just talk, I guess, to your phone or whatever you're doing. I think that's where the delay is coming from. Is that better? Okay. Hey guys, if y'all bear with us 1 second, we're gonna get it because this guy's a legend. Okay, so we gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's gonna figure it out. So Doug, you're a technical guy. What does he need to do? Give him, if he's listening.
Man,
to
I don't know.
because you have more technical issues than anybody on this show.
That's not true.
You need to go about 10 mics. 10 mics.
Man, that's because my mom and dad called me during the show.
Oh man.
You know, it's not all my fault. Stoney's gonna get it worked out. We get him some earphones. You know, that's probably on his assistant. He tells his assistant to get that worked out.
All right, so Stoney, we don't worry about this. If you hear me, give me a thumbs up. You hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Oh, he still got lag, man. I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm just gonna see if we can do this one more thing. We have to. All right, so Stoney, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so you got for some reason you got a delay, but I think we're okay. Because I can hear myself talking to you. Ah, all right. So this yeah. So look, I'm gonna pull you back out. We're gonna figure it out. So look, Doug, how about this? Why don't you go ahead and talk about Craig? You start. You talk about Edward Waters, and I'm gonna work with Stoney, and I'm gonna see if I can get him situated. So go ahead. Give me your synopsis of Edward Waters right there, real quick, Craig.
Edward Waters.
The game. Yeah. Let's talk about that. The Edward Waters beatdown on Saturday. Tell me how everything fans in.
It was a total mismatch from the get go. We're bigger, we're stronger, we're faster, and we did what we needed to do as a superior team, and that's go out, take the opening kickoff, and drive it right down their throats, and then get out to a big lead and shut them down, and that's what we played. We had one or two exchange problems, but other than that, it was pretty much according to script. So you leading 31-0 or something like that at halftime. It was all intents and purposes. It was over with. I thought Edward Waters, I thought they came out with good energy, but you could tell the frustration was setting in on them. And they started getting a little chippy out there, and for the most part, our guys held back because in past weeks we would have met them, we would have met them at the door. So right. I was pleased with the fact that we held our temper.
Right, we only had, I think our penalties were fairly low for us. We only had what was it looking like here? I think maybe 7 what was the total? We had 7.
I'm looking at 4.
So we had 4 penalties. Okay.
4 penalties. Four penalties on the day.
Okay. And, well, you know what? That's pretty damn good, for us. So I think we showed a lot of restraint, especially when your man got blasted on that punt return. So that could have been a whole melee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was one of the most important games of the season. Guys, I told you early in the season I like to get a game like that. It's good to get it coming off the bye week. You're able to shake off some rust. Yeah. We put the ball on the ground a few times, but I don't think it was consequential. I like the fact that we were able to get a bunch of guys going. I saw some new guys out there. AJ Dupree, my guy Malik the Hammer Jacobs was out there doing this thing, got him a pick. But we'll talk more about it. We got Mr. Polite on, so I'm glad to have Stoney on. Stoney P.
Stoney, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, my Lord. And see, look, that's what Aggies do. That's what Aggies do.
Stoney P. Aggies do.
Sorry about that, guys.
Man, listen. Listen, you are A&T royalty. We can wait all night, man. We can wait all night for you. But look, we don't have to wait any longer. I'm so happy you joined the show for us, man. I've been trying to get you on for a minute. And I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot of stuff going on. We're gonna try to talk a lot about what you're doing now and you're doing over the last couple of years. But let's take a trip down memory lane. Let's go back to 1984. Okay. I think Prince was on the charts. He might have had a young Michael Jackson. He still had a little bit of melanin in his skin back then, and it was a different time, right? You come to Greensboro, North Carolina. There's a coach named Mo Forte, and he's building something kind of special in Aggie land. and you go on that field. You got the I guess the it wasn't really the blue depth defense back then, I don't think, but you had some heavy hitters back there. Then
Absolutely.
on the offensive side of the ball, you had a quarterback, tall guy by the name of Alan Hooker,
Mm.
and then behind him was yourself, Mr. Stoney Polite, and that was quite a team back then.
Yeah, it was a coming together of the stars. As you all are well aware, if you look historically at that time, we were a basketball school at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of expectation per se for the football program at that time, and you could that by the commitment monetarily and everything else, but um, you just had a coming together of the stars. It's starting with Mo Forte and him basically changing a culture. And as we are well aware, talent without a good culture is not going to be productive. But we had a pretty good class in '84, and not just Allen and myself, but Juan Jackson, Marvin Christian. I mean, there were a lot of offensive linemen that came there, but more importantly, we bought into what Mo Forte was doing at that time. And let me tell you, that first year was rough, man. It was rough. We got kicked around a little bit. It was hard coming from the program I did in high school and looking up at that scoreboard and seeing some of those scores, some of those weekends, and then ending the season with a moral victory. Tennessee State at first year, and my goodness, at that time they beat Louisville by 4 or 5 touchdowns the week prior to us. So everybody was saying we were going to go down there to Tennessee and get 100 hung on us, and we went down there and competed, and that really set the tone for what was to come next.
And like I say, a lot of people who don't know your story, they need to take a minute and research it. You were, like I say, kind of like our first bell cow running back. You led the team in rushing, first person in school history to lead the team in rushing 4 years straight, and you finished your career as the all-time touchdown leader. I think you had 41 at the end of your career, and it was only broken decades later by one Tariq Cohen. So that's pretty good honor when Tariq and you in the same page.
Yes.
But describe your running style for these people, because you what, 5'10", about 220?
5'10", about 215, 220
okay.
at that time. I was for lack of better words, I was kind of a quasi back.
Okay.
I wasn't a speedster per se, and I wasn't a huge back. In fact, at that time, there were several running backs already on the team that were much bigger than me. Robert Shivers, to name one. And my versatility, and I contribute a lot of that to my coach, and cannot do this saying Joe Ragsdale. He focused on the completeness of being a running back. If you carry the name running back, you should be able to run the ball. But he wanted you to be able to block, to catch the ball, read defenses, be a situational player. And that's really what I focused on. So a lot of times I didn't just play tailback. I didn't just play fullback. I was that player that switched to and from as plays were brought in a lot of times by running backs rather than receivers, the way a lot of other typical teams bring in plays and things like that. Until, of course, Allen just took over the offense and just started calling it from the line. But I was a back that could play both of those, split backfield, single set, whatever the case may be, because it would be remiss not to say Mo Forte was an offensive genius.
And that's the same thing that Alan Hooker, he's been on our show before, and he the one takeaway I got was I underestimated just how proficient Mo Forte was at designing these complex schemes that were really ahead of his time.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Allen, of course, the numbers speak for themselves and the success that he had personally and our receivers. But if the situation called for, offense was capable to turn into a running offense, or it can convert to be a balanced one, or it could be an air attack. So that really had defenses on their heels most of the time.
And and see, Craig, you were a young man front and center when all this was going on, man. Give me your
Yeah.
scouting report. Give me your scouting report of Mr. Stoney Polite.
Do everything back. You have to account for him because he was like he said in his own words, he wasn't the fastest guy in the world, but he was the most determined runner, and the guy could juke you, get by you, run over you if you needed to, but he just did everything well. It wasn't so much about one specific thing that was so tough about him. It was that he was good at everything that he did, and it made it really tough because he was such a great receiver coming out of the backfield. And that's rough. That is something that is very hard to defend, even to this day. That's hard to defend when you've got a running back who's a really good receiver.
Yeah, you weren't going to play for George Ragsdale and not be able to catch the ball.
And that's crazy. So
Exactly.
one of the greatest running backs in school history, George Ragsdale, was actually your coach. What was that like, man?
Well, I can tell you the first conversation he had with us, and that may have been just another fortune for myself. He had a new group of running backs, a couple of returning lettermen, and everyone had to prove themselves to him. But he stopped, and we we didn't know how to take it at first. He showed us the books and showed us all his records and says, "You see this? You see this? You see this?" He said, "I expect, if not one of you, all of you to break every one of these records." So it was always his intent to groom us and to be the best we could be individually. And just knowing that type of attitude was coming from my coach, and to know he spoke from a position of experience too. At that time, he had just come from the Bandits at that time. And I mean,
Tampa Bay,
man, he could still turn and burn. And I mean, he loved it. Used to be out there running with us, and you letting this old man beat you. So it was so much fun, and I'm still close to him to this day. That's my second dad.
Look, Stoney knows. I mean, Rags has coached from the 80s. He coached at A&T in the 90s, in the early 2000s, and even then, he was still running with the guys. You gonna let this old man beat you? So I'm laughing at you saying that when Rags was a young man, and 20 years later, he's still out there running with the guys. But that just speaks to him pouring into the program, right, and wanting to see guys succeed. And it's no different now when he goes to the game. He still wants to see those running backs, and he carries that same pride. So that's just an awesome story.
Doug, you're really good at comps. Give me a comp for Stoney Polite. Give me a comp.
Now from the film that I saw Stoney, because I was a young man, but I've seen clips, and of course he's got the best name in Aggie football history, Stoney Polite. If anybody can do better than a name like Stoney Polite, then let me know. There's some close ones, but they're a close second. But Brandon Sweeney, I don't know if he lives up, but just the quickness and the versatility, being able, not considered a huge back, but definitely one that can stick it up in there and run between the numbers. But Sweeney was also a great guy off the field, like Mr. Polite. So,
and what about Frankie Patterson?
Frank Patterson, Frank Patterson was from that area. Was a quick. Frank was, down from the gas house. Shout out to Frank Patterson. That's my guy too. But no one can kind of touch the longevity of Stoney Polite's career. Like you said, doing it over those 4 years at running back, it's really just two guys. It's him and Tariq Cohen, of guys that were able to do that for that long stretch of time. It's such a demanding position, right? And when we laugh about Rags and what he asked you to do, but he was that demanding too, right? It wasn't just, I need you to do these things. You were going to do those things. I expected that of you. We were going to work till we got it done. So, if you like work, then that was your kind of thing. But if not, you're going to be driven to that, right? You're going to have to rise to that level. So, Stoney fits that mold, and every guy from that era fits that mold. It's amazing to hear those guys talk about how intricate their offense was, and to be able to recall things. They still know the plays. Cook can still read a play off, and those guys can still go out there and run it right now if we need it.
He can call it from the line, right? Yeah.
No problem. And like you said, just the ability to have a quarterback call the plays from the line. How much trust do you have in those guys, 18, 22-year-old guys, to allow them to go out there and pretty much have your livelihood on the line, that they're calling plays and putting up numbers, right?
Right.
But those guys are amazing, and they're not only do they know football, they're intellectuals too, right? They're speaking, and it sounds like poetry when they talk about how they play football and the way they play the game. So, man, you guys, we're still standing on you guys' shoulders, man.
Thank you.
Well, Stoney, check this out. It was kind of hard to, back in the 84 through 87, which your career, there wasn't a lot of internet going on. There wasn't ESPN. I think was kind of still in its infancy. So a lot of your highlights really didn't get captured. But Blue Death Valley, we always got a way. So let me show you some of this stuff and see if this rings a bell, man.
Stoney Polite, who, when he gets down near the goal line, knows how to get it across.
He does, Charlie. He's a big kid at 5'10", 210 pounds. He's got pro potential.
Polite jumps over one man, and it's still on him. And here, running motion. Polite has the ball. Back to the 5, and down to the 3. Full house backfield. Polite. Touchdown.
So first of all,
Wow.
Hey, come on, y'all gotta give it up. Listen, I love that. Hey, you was breaking ankles. You were stopping on the dime. You were running in between the tackles. You were catching out the backfield. But what about that snake though? That wasn't talking about the dance moves, Stoney. Hey, listen, Stoney, we can't gloss over that. Y'all were the fun bunch. Y'all were in the end zone. Y'all were doing the Janet Jackson in the end zone. Come on now.
We had a lot of fun. We did. It's nothing like winning, boy. Nothing like winning.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And so Mo Forte let y'all cut up like that? Y'all didn't have to run
again, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, his leash was kind of loose. But boy, if you weren't, it could tighten up.
Right, but y'all look like Doug. It looked like they had a ball, man.
Oh man, that's Aggie football. That's what I remember. That's early childhood for me. But man, seeing those uniforms and seeing those numbers out there, man, that brings back some good memories for sure.
And catching that deep pass from Alan Hooker, it must have been surreal to this past weekend, turn on the TV and see his son doing the same thing against Alabama on national TV. What's that like to watch the second generation of you guys in action?
You put it in words. It's you can't put it in words. It is amazing to see Hendon take those steps, and of course we knew he could, right. But everything has to come together. Opportunity and circumstance and everything else. We know his road going through Virginia Tech, and yeah, he was starting there, but that wasn't the place that could nurture the skills that he had. And boy, oh my goodness, I tell you, when I look at that kid play, man, he looks so much like his daddy, boy.
Doesn't he?
That highlight, him dropping back and throwing that ball.
So that tells you that his dad could have done the same thing at any level. And that's why I say again, the stars aligned for us to be able to get a caliber player like Allen and some of those offensive linemen that we got and everything to come in at one class. That is a championship. That is probably the championship that A&T did not think they were going to get. We snuck up on them.
But it will never be forgotten. And give me some more names, man, because I don't want to leave anybody. We talk about, I mean, it's a legendary team. Give me some more guys who played a role in that title run.
Herb Harbison.
Yes, sir.
Ernest Riddick, Frank Newman, and
what was Ernest Riddick? Was that Dr. Doom?
Yes.
That's Dr. Doom, huh?
Yes.
Okay. I love that name.
Boy, I could tell you 1,000 stories about that guy. I mean, and then so many support players that were that really pushed us in practice. You had Chi-Chi. You had, and I'm thinking of her, Joe Johnson. And I already said Marvin Christian, Ken Canyon, who's doing a lot of things. That's my homeboy, matter of fact. He's from ATL.
Okay.
Demetri Harrison. It was a collection that I don't think we could have on paper thought we were going to get that batch of talent at one time. Usually it takes years to accumulate that. And even though Uni was a few years behind us, I mean, he was right there and he came in freshman and sophomore year and contributed and was defensive player of the year and everything else. So we were just very, very fortunate. The players that we got, coaching staff that we had, and really how we shift the rudder and really became a football power. Not taking anything away from our basketball program because we supported them as well at that time. But we kind of made a move on the yard to get a little respect.
That's awesome. And I know it's tough back then because back, at Craig, this is when the MEAC was considered the A&T Invitational in basketball. Those guys was winning every year. And just just doing major things over at Corbett Sports Center, but that football season was we'll never forget it. And after college, after you graduated, you kept on making big things happen. And I understand that you currently you have a storied career as a fire captain. Is that correct?
I'm an assistant chief in my department.
I'm so sorry, assistant chief that's Gwinnett, Georgia. Are you still in Georgia?
Yes, Gwinnett County. Yeah,
Gwinnett County in Georgia. And so you got a storied career doing that. And we just had who we have on last week? We had Tyree Glasper, who's starring he's like a 3 or 4 year firefighter, and he's in Charlotte. So it's funny how that's so much similar. But I also understand that you were in the military after college. You had a career in the military, and you were in Afghanistan.
Yeah, Afghanistan, Iraq. I did 28 years.
28 years, okay.
Yeah, 8 years active, and the remainder of it was reserve. So that was like blended time as I was in the fire department. But was Kuwait, Iraq, Afghanistan. I was in the Navy. And if you didn't know this, the Marine Corps are of the Navy. They don't like telling you that. Okay. So they don't have their own medical. So I was a corpsman, and I came up through the ranks as basically a combat medic. I was with the Marines most of my career.
But I believe make sure I got this right, in 2011, you were recognized as one that they called the Angel of the Battlefield for your service in Afghanistan, where you were helping to save lives and train people. You were actually brought in front of the Joint Chiefs of Staffs, I believe, and recognized nationally for your service. And I know you're very humble, but can you tell us a little bit about that whole ceremony at least?
The ceremony took place in DC. It was a week-long event. My wife and I came up and attended, and it was basically recognizing other medics from other branches as well who had been recognized for just duty, service, doing what they're supposed to do. And it was very memorable. Got a lot of cool coins, a lot of good memories. It's never a bad trip to go to DC with the history and everything that's there. So it was very nice. It was very appreciated.
Definitely. And I just bring that up because it just shocks me really just how outstanding these former athletes are that leave A&T. When people leave A&T and go in the world, man, they do big things. And I want the younger generation and the guys on the team know right now that when football is over, your life doesn't stop. You still have an opportunity to impact your community and your world around you, really, and just continue that Aggie legacy. So just definitely kudos to you for all you've been doing.
Thank you. I would be remiss to not say how much I owe to going through those experiences at A&T and what I've done, because I just do what I know to do. Just like you guys said, when I got this thing finally going, Aggies do. That's not an option. We're going to make it happen, and to walk through life and to mentor others to do that, it's easy. It comes naturally.
So let me ask you this: have you had a chance to follow the current team? Or you have a grasp of what's going on these days?
I'm an Aggie man.
Okay. All right, let's talk some Aggie football here. Let's talk some Aggie football. So right now, so look here, Stoney. Right now, we started off 0-3, and we were, everybody was writing the obituary. They left it for dead. The season was over. We're gonna fire every coach on the staff, taking scholarships. Woe is us, doom and gloom, and then somehow Sam Washington kind of circled the wagon. We got a 3-game winning streak here. Getting healthy, and we're about to travel up to Pennsylvania on Saturday for a chance to get another Big South win. What are your thoughts on the state of the program we stand right now?
I am very optimistic on the remainder of the season.
Okay.
I attended Central, and I watched all the other games, and basically, it was a lot of the, first of all, not to take away who the competitors were. So to play well and or defeat those teams was going to be flawless football. It's not a question of whether or not A&T has talent enough to do it, but you have to put everything together. And what I saw was there were some lapses earlier. And knowing Coach Washington, as I do, and as I've followed him, both as an assistant and as head coach, he doesn't tolerate those things. And he does understand that mistakes, no matter who you're playing, is magnified and can determine a game. So a lot of penalties and inopportune moments. I thought initially we needed to get better conditioned. There were a couple of things, but I'm telling you right now, they look really good. And there's nothing like winning to get you on track, to start crossing those T's and dotting I's and tweaking those small things. Because as they get further down, I have no doubt that they're going to win this conference. My question is, what are they going to look like in the playoffs?
Oh, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, so look, let's talk about the 2022 version of RBU, because we got a 3-headed monster now. We got Bashal Tootin, guy from New Jersey. He's just every game now he's at 100 yards. That's a minimum. And then we got this kid from Danville, Graves, and he's kind of like the dancing panda. He's a dancing panda. He has quick feet, but he'll run you over. And also big Charlie Dixon. What are your thoughts on the crop of running backs we got now at A&T?
It is an excellent balance of lightning and thunder.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, even though I was the bruiser and it seemed like I would lean toward those bigger backs, which they are wonderful, and I think they could possibly have the tools to play at the next level. But how do you pronounce it? Tootin?
Tootin, yes, yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's a talent there now.
Yeah,
I'm telling, and what I enjoy seeing in him is that balance of all that talent, man. It's spread all over the field as a receiver, as a runner, as a returner. He's just, he's nice. They're carrying the torch.
And I think you said you were in Charlotte. I think one of the issues that we had in that Charlotte game is that we didn't lean on that running game enough. We had our freshman quarterback throwing it 48 times. And now you look back and you look at our roster, you're like, how in the world would you think that was okay? Because we got Michelle, we got Dixon, we got Graves. That should never happen again. So I think we understand our strengths, like you said, and I think we're gonna with that balance, it's gonna be very favorable for the rest of the year. So are you going to get a chance to
as we well know?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was just going to say that running game is what opens up the passing.
Right. Definitely. Mm-hmm. And so is that kind of what you guys did with you and Alan Hooker?
Absolutely.
Because I saw a lot of play action, right? It was a lot of play action fakes and stuff.
A lot of play action.
Yeah.
And Alan would, as we said earlier, he would do checks at the line, but even in his checks, we would go to a play action as he's reading and trying to draw in, especially those safeties and especially those linebackers, so he could get Joe Johnson right behind him and dink and dunk him. And as they bring him in, then you got Herb killing them softly deep. So yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of that balance that really caused defenses problems, and that's what A&T is doing now. If they can continue to grow the balance of that offense, man, they're going to be very hard to stop.
Yes, sir. So are you going to get a chance to come to homecoming next week? You going to be able to
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Okay. So look. Okay. So we got you. We got you in Greensboro next week.
Yes.
There might be a chance that, because Doug has a world famous tailgate, and we might have some adult beverages around somewhere. But there might be a chance. We can see the snake in person. We can see some dance moves. we can rock it out.
You're gonna have to give me about a 3 to 5 minute warm up though.
Oh, okay. Oh man, that's awesome. Hey, so look here, man. I appreciate you so much. Like I said, I'm a big fan. When the story behind all that highlight video, I was just in my garage a couple years ago. I moved into my new house, and it's like manna from heaven. I got this video, this VCR tape, VHS, and I didn't know what was on it, and it was that game. And I wasn't, I was probably was 84. I forgot what year that was, but I know I was a little kid. I didn't tape it. I don't know how I got it, but I got it. I had to go ahead and rush it and rip it and put it on the internet. And I saw that, and that was my only time seeing you and Alan and all those guys in person, man. So, just like seeing your heroes that you had heard about in front of you, it was awesome. I just can't. Like I said, I hope we get a chance to meet in person next week somewhere around the game. But like, I want to shake your hand because when it comes to like that Mount Rushmore, man, I think you're somewhere on there when it comes to the running backs. It's just a lot of people don't understand this, how hard it is to be that consistent, to lead the team, especially back then when we got so many guys, and to lead the team in rushing 4 straight years, and to have the all-time. When you graduate, you had the all-time touchdown record, man. That's awesome.
Right. Yeah, it was surreal. But what I've taken away from it is so much more valuable than any accolades that I may have gotten in. I mean, I got a bunch of friends that are ride or die with me for 30 plus years now. It is unreal. That whole experience on the field, but it's been even better off of it.
Awesome. All right, so thank you so much, Stoney, and we'll definitely gonna keep in touch, and we're gonna have to link up, man. So
yes, absolutely.
Anything else, guys, before we let this gentleman go? Anything else you want to ask him? Good.
Yep.
No,
See you,
G-Ho. That's it. See you, G-Ho.
Yep. We'll hook up. We'll hook up.
Bring those dance moves, man. We gonna put you on the spot. This podcast is popular, so people gonna be asking you about it now. When they see you around, don't be surprised, man.
Thank you for having me on. When I get the opportunity, even if it's after and it's delayed, I love you all's content. I love what you're doing.
Okay.
And it is popular. Me and my guys talk about what y'all talk about all the time. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's really appreciated.
No problem. Thank you so much, sir. You have a good night.
All right. Take care.
My man, Stoney Polite. That was fun. Hey, Craig, good things coming to those who wait. We had a little bit of technical difficulties in the beginning, but hey, I wasn't gonna drop him.
Yeah.
We're gonna be here 3 hours. We're gonna be here 3 hours trying to figure that out.
Yeah,
But
that was really good to hear from him.
Man, and like I say, I'm getting a little older, Craig, and I'm closer to 50 than I am 30, right? So, but when I was young, you started talking about A&T football. Those names, Stoney Polite, I heard about them, but there was never a way to see it. It was a little bit before my time. And when I found that video and I saw it, I said, that's it. That's what all my older friends would tell me about. And the legend lives on. And we got to link up with that guy next week around G-Ho. That's mandatory, man.
Yeah, that 86 team was something special, man. They were truly something special. Nobody picked them to do much of anything that year, and they played lights out from beginning to end. They were on target. Great games against South Carolina State, the big one against Delaware State, because at that time Delaware State was ranked in the top 5 of the country. And,
right? Yeah, they were monster. Yeah.
And they took them out at Aggie Stadium, and that was one of the greatest games I've ever seen A&T play, because we were a massive underdog in that game.
All right, so guys, we're going to open up the show to any guests for the next probably 20 so minutes. We're not gonna be here too long. Got to see what my Astros are doing. Are we winning yet? We are tied 1-1, but about to change that though. Y'all about to go. You about to have a big inning here pretty soon. But listen, we want to talk to you guys about the next half of the season. If you're a fan, you watch this show, tell us what you think about the next half of the season, because we got Robert Morris on Saturday, and then we got that big showdown against Campbell in 2 weeks here at G-Ho. And we had one of the hotbed issues that we talked about was the attendance or lack thereof. So last Saturday, the previous week, we had Bryant come down here, and of course there was a bad forecast that day. Was overcast skies. It ended up being not so bad as far as the rain, but it was kind of cool, and I think that scared off a lot of fans. Only had like 7,004 people showed up that game, and then the next week, last Saturday, we had better weather, but only 9,000. It wasn't really 9. They said 9,000, but there wasn't no way in hell there was 9,000 people in that stadium. So the last 2 weeks, we've had some really poor crowds, and that's when I kind of lost it on social media, and I was like, we got to do better. We got to rev up our promotions, our marketing. We got to figure out a way to get some fannies in the stadium, because we have a good product. We still have a really good football program, and we got a world-class, marching band. More people should be able to experience this. Okay. I think one of the issues is that price point, $31 for general admission, whether you're 5 years old or 99 years old, that's kind of tough. Okay.
Well, last time I checked, the students already paid for their tickets.
Yep, and there wasn't a lot of students there. There were more students that came in after, right around the second quarter, but the student turnout, the previous week they was like, well, I think this is, fall break or something like
fall break.
But there wasn't no fall break last week, and it wasn't any rain. It wasn't any. I mean, it was a perfect football
1 o'clock
weather.
game, I guess. 1 o'clock. Right?
1 o'clock.
Saturday.
But so. Well, but let's bring in Billy J, our friend Billy J. Billy J, what's going on,
Billy
man?
J from the
What's going on, guys?
So what you doing out there? It's cold, man. What you doing out there? It's cold outside, man.
Yeah. I'm chilling. I got a little break in the car before I go back in.
Okay.
Go back into work.
So first of all, How was Miami, man? You got a scout
Oh
report
man,
on Miami?
it was a blast. I had a blast, man. It was so
Don't tell
much
him
fun.
everything, Billy. Don't tell him all that Miami
I'm
secret.
just gonna say, I'm just gonna keep it general. But yeah, I did have fun. So
Okay.
my first time in Miami, I can see, why people go down there. I had a blast. So
You understand it now.
I had a blast. It won't be my last though. My first, but it won't be my last.
All right, so Billy J, before we get to the football, let's talk about this attendance because I had the bone to pick with a lot of people at the A&T administration throughout the week. I have some ideas on how we can fix things, but I just feel like there's not enough effort being made to reach out to the community and find ways to get some of, maybe our potential casual fans into the stadium. I know we got the diehards, we got the Craigs. Craig ain't missing the game for nothing. I don't care what they're charging. Craig's gonna be there, right? So we're speaking to the choir when it comes to Craig, but people like my wife and her girlfriends, people who might have graduated from A&T, but just kind of on the fence. What can we do to get more folks there?
Well, that's a $1 million question.
Yeah,
it's like you said, it's going to take a whole lot of marketing. I think it's going to have to take some type of, and like going back to what you guys said with the whole pricing and what you said, $31 general admission. Yeah. I think even more for reserve seat. I think it's going to take something and get more fans in the stands. I know our football team hasn't been super, super great this year. That might have something else to do with it. Because normally when our football team is going great and we're undefeated, everybody comes out. But as soon as our football team slips a little bit, then you start seeing less people coming out. And, it seems like we got a lot of fair weather fans out there, but I was gonna keep it real. But
yeah,
I don't know what it's gonna have to take a lot, I think, in order to get more people in the stands, not just just Aggie Nation, but just outsiders. Period. Trying to get more outsiders into the stands. So I think it's gonna take a lot. It's just not just one thing, one solution. I think you're gonna have to have, I don't know, maybe more than one thing to happen.
So okay, so we actually got somebody else. He wants to join the conversation, and this gentleman is what we call a contrarian. He's always he always finding fault and stuff. So our friend BJ, what's going on, man? So listen,
hey man, what's up, man? How's everybody doing out there?
Man, first of all, we love you, brother.
Yeah. Now listen, I had to jump in because me and you been going back and forth on Twitter for
like Crips and Bloods. We've been going at.
I gotta bring the facts to the people, man. I gotta bring the facts to the people.
Welcome, Mr. BJ.
Hey, welcome, BJ. Welcome.
So here's my thing. Here's my 1 minute speech.
Go ahead.
A&T has averaged somewhere between 12,000 and 15,000 consistently since 1999. You did correct me, and I'm wrong, and I'm glad you corrected me. We've sold out 2 games since 1999.
Okay.
That's the Winston-Salem State game in 2009 and the undefeated game against Central in 2017. No, 99 fam. I looked it up. Samaj was right. It was only 19,900 fans in the stands. We still had seats available.
I mean, you can see on the video, it wasn't completely full. But
that was with FAMU's band taking up
and that was with FAMU's taking up a whole section. So my whole point is,
right,
attendance. We've never filled that stadium other than Jiho. Right. Now, is the price point bad? I agree. The price point is bad. But our fans are just not engaged like that. Now, I agree that there are some things that we could do in the community and we could get more people in there. I get it. But at the grand schemes of things, ticket sales are 7% of our budget.
Right. There you go. So that's my argument. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, hold on. So it's 7% out of our budget.
Right.
Do we really want to invest $100,000? Because if we do go hard on marketing, we got to pay people. We got to pay them a salary. We got to pay them benefits. On top of we got to pay for marketing campaigns. Do we really want to put that money in that when we can put that money in summer school for athletes, better nutrition, better strength and conditioning, things that we can see a tangible result on the field. And that's my speech.
All right. Now first of all, let me say, okay, I thought you were gonna say something way more crazier than that. So I am surprised. That's a strong point. Okay, that's actually a legitimate. That's the fact that you brought up the percentage, which I was gonna bring up later, but you said the same thing I was gonna say from a different angle. It's only 7% of our budget, right? So therefore, I don't think that should be a deal breaker. Like, well, we got to squeeze every ounce of money out of this ticket revenue, or we're going to go bankrupt. Okay, that's not the case, right? At the end of the day, it's going to be student fees, and it's going to be just how much money Chancellor Martin allocates to spend on athletics. That's going to pay the light bill, right? But my thing is, I feel like we have unused, unsold inventory. We got a 21,500 seat stadium, right? And like you said, almost every year, okay, we're going to have about 7,000 to 8,000 unsold seats. Just dead inventory. We got inventory that's just not getting used except for if we play Central or if we have a homecoming, right? So on those dates where we're not a Central or Winston State or a homecoming, right? Let's use that as an opportunity. And here's things that you guys are kind of overlooking. You don't have to invest all this money in this great marketing campaign to bring people to buy a $40 ticket or $30 ticket, right? What you can do is you can use the announcement of you offering these affordable tickets to the community as your marketing campaign. That's your marketing by making it available. Like, look here, we Greensboro community, East Greensboro, we have not forgot about you. We have set aside, I think the number I had was 8,000. I said 30% of 8,000 was 2,400. We set aside 2,500 seats every game and just made it available for people who, in small groups, families or whatever, to come experience the A&T thing. And it's only 2,500, 2,400 seats. So once that inventory is gone, then you got to buy the $40 ticket, whatever, So my whole thing is you're not going broke, but you're making it a goodwill gesture that you can promote on your platforms. So you can have a right. And this is no cost anything.
What's going to be? Let me ask you this: what's going to be your price point? What's going to be your price point on those 2,500 tickets?
Okay, so let's say
what's going to be the price point?
So you got, let's say you do a family 4-pack. Family 4-pack is something that we did with the Houston Rockets when I worked with the Houston Rockets. It's something that most minor league, the 4 is kind of that number, right? And some people package it with a voucher to get some food. But the family 4-pack in 2022, let's say you get 4 tickets for $60. So that's like $15 a ticket. And you have to buy 4 at a time. You can't just buy one and say, for little Johnny, you have to get 4. So you have to at least spend, somebody comes to A&T, they have to at least spend $60. And they get a family 4-pack. And then they get to sit like the nosebleeds on the visitor side. It ain't somewhere that's unsold inventory that's not the premium stuff. This, like I said, it's a clearance rack at Kohl's. If it's about to be winter, if I got a short sleeve shirt that I'm trying to move before the new gear gets in the Kohl's, I'm gonna put it in the clearance rack. So I got this inventory that's nobody buying, no one's buying anyway, and I package it as a family 4-pack or the church, outreach, right? So you can play around with the numbers. It's not gonna break you, but it's saying, hey, we're making inroads. We're not just take, and we're giving opportunities to some people, 2,500 people who said, I cannot afford A&T, but now I can walk from Ray Warren housing projects down Bimbo Road, and I can go to an A&T game because I got $60. Go ahead, DJ.
Now, do you think the people not coming is them saying they can't afford A&T, or is there because there are other options? Because the conversation.
I know for a fact, and this is not just something I heard about. I know people say, "Hey, how much is A&T tickets?" I said, "Oh, it's probably about $30." I can't.
No. You got to remember.
It's called. You got to remember. It's sticker shock.
Listen, you got to remember. In a 2-hour radius, we got UNC Charlotte, Winston-Salem State. 2 hours. You got.
No. Listen, in the city of Greensboro, we got only one Division I football program. If you want to watch football,
you got two Division III teams that play too in the city.
Now,
Guilford College and Greensboro College have football programs.
We are not losing fans because someone opted to go to Greensboro College and watch a Division III game over A&T.
It's a lot of local kids on those teams. It's a lot of local kids on those teams. Plus, you have Pop Warner football.
Guys, this is my thing.
You got Pop Warner football. You got Pop Warner football on Saturdays that go from 9 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. They gonna go see Lil Ray Ray and then play football for $5 versus coming over to A&T for $30.
And first of all, we've had outreaches where we targeted sports teams, and like I said, you can play around. We had 2 games this year that started at 7:00. The beginning, our first 2 home games. So you can play around the kickoff if you're trying to entice more people from the community. There's things you can do. I'm saying there's ways you can be creative and not just say, "Oh, nobody comes. We haven't had 15,000 people since 1999. Who cares? Let's not even worry about it." I'm saying it's not a lost cause. There are ways in which we can make an effort, and just by making an effort is the marketing. That's our marketing campaign. Aggies we make an effort. Go ahead, Doug.
There's a lot we can do, and there's a bunch of different ideas we can throw out there. It's going to take some time, and I always start with the students because they're the biggest amount of people that can just show up in a moment. They live on campus for the most part. And they're the life of the stadium, right? They're the ones that when they show up, we have a game. When we play Central, we play Winston, or the teams you're naming, it's generally the students that pack the place out. Homecoming, yeah, you're going to get some of everybody that's buying a ticket to come to the game. But if we're being realistic, it's not about the conference because we've been to plenty of Delaware State home games when we didn't have anybody in the stands, all right? So
not Morgan State.
We're going to play plenty of Morgan State games, right? That's been like that. So we can throw the conference stuff out the window, but I think we do have to get back to some of the things we did back in the day, early in the 90s. What my thing is, let's tap into Friday night, right? You got to bring out the high school kids, which my biggest thing is bring up University Band Day, high school bands. Because if you bring out high school bands, guess what? You got the whole family. Because mama's got to come.
Package deal.
Right? The little brother and little sister got to come. Auntie and uncle might even come to see you perform at A&T after the game. And it always used to be kind of our third game, right? We had the big Winston or Central game, we had homecoming, then a university day, right? But we have to still bring in extra bleachers to seat the band sometimes. And that created, that was something that you could extend or invite as far as you wanted to. You still got schools from South Carolina, Florida, whoever else that might want to come up and be a part of that. And you're still getting that exposure. It could also be the day when you lower the ticket prices because it's really just about getting butts in the seat. BJ's right. We're not really too concerned about that portion of the revenue. It's 7% of the budget.
Right. So why are we nickel? That's my point. Why if it's not that crucial? Why are we nickel and diming?
Right. I think we can manage to get butts in the seats for certain games. Right. That we could have a university day. We're gonna have a cold game when we don't have anybody in the stands. Right. That November game after homecoming. It's gonna be thin, right? We played Central with a championship on the line before, or a Celebration Bowl.
And BJ, that's what we call unsold inventory.
Now listen, but here's my thing. Now I will say this, and I try to stay in behind the university all the time because I like what we're doing. But I was disappointed to find out we had open house last week.
Good light.
And they did not give the tickets away to the people that came to open house. I don't know.
No. Hey, Dooms, welcome to the show.
They sold them for $19 instead of giving them away for free. I didn't understand that.
And they didn't even announce that they were selling. It was like word of mouth. Like you walked in there and like, oh, by the way, if you want to buy a ticket, we got it for $19. Like they didn't have it on the website. Like for some reason, it's like we are allergic to promoting stuff on our official website. Like, okay, we put something on Facebook that automatically means we can't put it on the front page of the website. I'm like, why don't we have some synergy here? Okay, because I might get something on Facebook. It's gonna be like it was like a flyer that somebody made, on Photoshop. I don't know if it's legit. I go check on NCANT Aggies or NCANT EDU to make sure that's real, and I can't see it. I'm like, it might be a University Day tickets, or it might just be somebody playing a little prank. But hey, Dooms, Paul, unmute yourself.
I was busy yelling at the kids. So.
Yeah, I know. But listen. Hey, first of all, thank you for coming back to the show, man.
What's up, Paul?
Weigh in real quick, man. What's your take on this topic?
My main take is just frustration.
Okay.
This is a conversation that should not be had by alumni of the school. This is a conversation that should be had by the athletic department. I'm willing to bet money almost every week that somebody from the athletic department watches Inside the Valley. At the very least, they are reading.
I guarantee you.
At the very least, they are reading the board. You know, it took John Jolly showing up at the press conference and just letting them know, I'm tired of this crap and it's got to stop before somebody actually implemented a change. And like I said,
you talk about the notorious COM.
Yes.
Going and talk about the discipline to Coach Washington at the press conference a couple
of weeks ago. Exactly. And unfortunately, like I said on the board, it's looking to me like we're going to have to do that to get anything done. I'm not the confrontational type, but if I was in Greensboro at this point, I'd probably be walking up in somebody's office, and it particularly irked me to find out that people are playing in the band, they ain't getting no money, and they can't even give tickets to the family to come check them out playing at halftime. That's not even logical to me.
Billy J, that hits home for you. So you saying to me that somebody's practicing 20 hours a week, they're probably out there right now, Nicole, working on homecoming show, and they can't even get grandma one comp ticket to see them, not for homecoming. Okay, that's like you say, BJ, we got premium and unsold inventory, right? So how about for the Norfolk State show, when there's gonna be like 8,000 people there again, can we give some of those unsold those empty seats to grandma for the band?
It would be nice. Much? I mean, if BJ could speak for me, because BJ, we both marched to the band too.
Hey, I marched 4 years. We never got free tickets, man.
Never got free tickets.
Never got free tickets, man. Never. Listen, man, we used to get chicken. Listen, they used to give us chicken biscuits from Miss Winters. We get that chicken box.
Miss Winters.
That Miss Winters. That was our meals when we did an all-day performance. So
no disrespect, Doug, but people weren't coming to see y'all. People were coming to see.
They come to see the band, no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. This is black college football.
That's always been
see what happens after halftime. People are history. Yeah. People are history.
Okay, so look here.
You can't even give them some tickets.
Okay, all of us are kind of like diehards. We're zealots. We've been in, here for A&T for decades. Ray Brickhouse is the father of our punter. He's probably one of the 5 coolest people I've met in my life. Every time I hang around this guy, I want to drive back to the mountains with him and hang out and watch the game or something. He's cool. Family is royalty. So his take is it's not, and this is his first year in Aggieland. He's watching his son play. It's not a home field advantage when that many seats are empty. Because he was under the impression that the whole sales speech when his son was getting recruited was, hey, you gotta watch this A&T culture, this HBCU, the bands and the crowd and the Greeks. And he saw that probably, for the South Carolina State game, and then the next 2 games, nobody, right? It's crickets. So
stay tuned, Mr. Brickhouse. Stay tuned.
Miss, can I speak to Mr. Brickhouse? Mr. Brickhouse, first of all, we appreciate your son. I love what your son does.
We love
first of all. But it's gonna get better. If you look at the schedule, we got some big games coming up. That Norfolk game is gonna be cold, but as long as they bring their band, it'll be a good crowd. Yeah. Winston-Salem State is coming up on the schedule. That'll be a sellout. So
next year? Is that next year?
Yes. I think it's 2 years.
Hey, if Winston don't start winning a couple games, them jokers ain't coming.
They ain't coming either.
I'm just saying, but Samaj, I hear what you're saying, and I'm gonna see Chancellor Martin next week for homecoming at one of the receptions. I'm gonna personally pull him to the side.
Yeah, post him up.
I ain't gonna post him up. I'm gonna say, hey, Chancellor Martin, can I ask you a question? And I'm gonna get your answer. Now, I don't know if what he gonna say, but I'm gonna ask the question at the reception on Thursday, and I'll have your answer next week.
And that's all I'm saying. And present like this, BJ, because I want people to understand. I'm being very serious because I know that there are it's hard to implement a whole marketing plan in the middle of a season, whatever, right? But this is stuff you can do in real time. You can meet with your ticket manager. And you can see how the projections are going, right? Because they made an announcement last week that we've already sold out homecoming. So they're getting real time figures, and they say, okay, no more homecoming seats. So you know that nobody's coming to Norfolk State. You know, the same 7,000 people who bought the tickets for Brian or whatever. So go ahead and say, look, we got this whole side of the stadium there. That's how can we benefit from this inventory? If I work, like I use the department store analogy, if I have a clothing store and I got all these T-shirts and I got tank tops and little mini dresses, and it's about to be winter, right? It's 30 degrees outside. I don't want to throw this stuff away. How can I use it? Let me discount it and package it as something for, you know, a clearance. That's all I'm saying. It makes sense. Well, it's a win-win.
Therein lies the problem, in my belief.
Okay.
No disrespect, BJ, but I think what they do is they look at the average. They don't look at each game saying, well, we only got 7,000 here, we only got 8,000 there. They lump in that homecoming because every year that's a given. That's 21,500.
Oh yeah.
And they look
that
at
was a
the
victory
average
lap.
and they say, we're in the top 15 or whatever. We good.
Yeah.
You know
I do
what
it myself. I look at the data myself and be like,
but
we
yeah,
good.
let me ask y'all a question though. I think we're more concerned with selling out the stadium. How many other FCS teams are going to sell out our stadium, right?
I don't care.
Like
no. Say that's where that's the whole thing.
We started off talking about sellouts. We named the 2 sellouts we had.
Right. Okay.
Realistically, we don't sell out the stadium because it's a big FCS stadium.
Okay. So first of all, if we play in Hollywood
it's one of the biggest in the country.
Right. And guess who y'all can blame? Everybody looking at the top center because he was the one of the original season ticket holders. His group is what
you and that daggone gold helmet.
they raised money. Craig Turner raised money to build that stadium.
Why aren't we? The big question is, why haven't we installed the bleachers for next weekend? Let's bring some new bleachers out and sell 3,000 more tickets. Put some bleachers on that track. We got a bunch of folks. We got to get in that game.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And BJ, you come back, let us know. But the whole thing is, I feel like you said, Dooms. I feel like we're having a conversation that no one who is currently employed at A&T is having. Like we're more stressed out about the attendance and marketing than anybody who works at 1601 East Market. And that's honestly how I feel. I believe that they're just resigned to the fact that, hey, I think they took that victory lap last week when they sent out that press release about homecoming sold out early, and they put it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the school website. You know, when they do something on a school website, you know it's really important because they rarely put it on the school website, and they put it everywhere that people know homecoming has sold out. Meaning we've done our job. We got people here for homecoming, and even though we got 2 more games after that, so you know whatever happens. So I think they just wash their hands with it, and they're not going to try anything else, and that pains me. You know?
Yeah. They don't know, won't show, or don't care about what's going on in the hood.
Dude, with the classic.
Man. All right, so Dooms, before we let you go, because I know you got some gymnastics people flipping around the house.
Them jokers on their own. I done yelled at them. They done.
Okay. and lacrosse. You got some lacrosse stars. But check this out. What is one more thing that you would like to see done with this athletic department besides the attendance? Yeah, I know you got a couple gripes. We talked about it on the phone the other day. What else would you like to have addressed if you could meet the chancellor?
We just got to modernize. I mean, you want to move into one of the top FCS conferences, and we're bringing up the rear. The second we step 1 foot in there, we put our toe in the water, it's going to get chopped off by a barracuda. We are bringing up the rear. I'm blue and gold. My braces are blue and gold. Y'all don't understand me. I am blue and gold through and through. I do not want to roll out, go up into the CAA, and just get our behinds whooped every week. We got to modernize. We had the nice slideshow presentation and whatnot from
the dog and pony.
Yeah. And there was all the platitudes about how we're going to raise our budget and modernize the $25 million budget. That's a drop in the bucket. If we've been underfunding the athletic department for eons, and we suddenly up it to 25. That's nothing. That isn't going to get us anywhere. It does a disservice to the coaches, to the student. It does a disservice to everybody, in my opinion.
And you know what? And I feel like you said, the coaches are the ones who got to grin and bear it. They can't be, they can't have true serum because they're trying to keep their jobs. But you know, here's an exercise, guys. When everybody comes in town next week for G-Ho, just take a chance, and it's going to be right across the street. Just ride by War Memorial Stadium, and look at the state that place is in. And I know, listen, I know we've had people tell us to wait, be patient, but we are in every sport but football officially in the CAA, right? And for when people come in for homecoming, and those tents are set up right outside of War Memorial Stadium, that shows how far we are from where we need to be in this new move. And I'm patient. I'm a visionary. I like to sell dreams, man. You know, when we started this website, we didn't have all the podcasts and photo galleries and write articles every week. You know, we were just on a message board, right? So you got to have a vision before you can have the fruition. But it's got to start coming. We got to start having some stuff quick because Coach Hall is about to start doing baseball. That softball is about to start up. Schumer is about. They predicted him to be 11 out of 13 teams in CAA. That's his projection for basketball. If you're gonna tell us that we got to go into this fire, you got to at least give us some ammunition. That's what I would tell Chancellor Martin. And I know I've said it before. He's not the best communicator, right? Earl Hilton, he's not the best communicator. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not the best at math, okay? But I got my own skill sets. They have their own skill sets. However, if you know that the job requires that you got to sell people on patience, you can't just do a dog and pony show. What was that, April? When they have all that to roll out for the CAA? Whenever that was. Right. And that's it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And now doubt and conjecture takes over. You need to come on Inside the Valley or start your own Aggie Pride podcast back up again. And y'all need to have a regular update on where we stand as far as closing that gap. Because I haven't heard anything since the whole dog and pony show, the PowerPoint and the town hall, which Craig, Doug, we gave them credit when they did. We said, thank y'all for having the cojones to stand in front of the Aggie Nation and answer questions. But we need more now because But go ahead.
In the words of Craig Turner, we all know that football is the straw that stirs the drink. All right. So right now, I don't want to hear anything unless it's dealing with A&T winning a Big South championship. All right. We'll worry about basketball and the CAA.
Okay.
I know we're active in the CAA right now. Volleyball, we've got some sports that are already off to it. And I know we didn't get off to the best start. But right now, because football stirs the drink, and that's what's going to drive this ship, that's where our focus is. We got time to figure that stuff out. If we win a Big South championship right now, I don't think you're going to be so worried about, our first dive into the CAA. We know it's a tall task. We know we got to raise money.
That's a good point. I
don't know that we'll ever get to the point. And I love Doom's perspective because he's like, yo, we need to give. That's not enough. Like, we got to get to there. And we need some people that are looking at the finish line, not even the finish line, that are looking down the road and like where we really got to go instead of like where we at next week. Because I'm over here one brick at a time, and like, hey, we got Robert Morris next week. I'm trying to win a championship, but that is the long end, and it is Earl's job and the chancellor's job to see the big picture. And I know they had those conversations. I know they sit in those rooms. I'm pretty sure those same thoughts and conversations and ideas come through Earl's desk and head every day, and I will even go to the far to say that I'm not going to let you get away with saying he's not a good communicator, because I've heard him communicate to players, parents, and coaches, and he is just as good as recruiter for this university as anybody in the athletic program. And I've been in there and heard those conversations when he is speaking to those families.
Okay,
now, in terms of, I don't know that it's his job.
When I say communicate, when I say communicate, I'm not talking about a stump speech, okay? Because anybody can have a stump speech. I'm talking about crisis communication. I'm talking about educational communication. I'm talking about.
Are we in a crisis right now?
Hell yes,
man. Time out, guys. Now I gotta stop y'all right there. I gotta stop. I have to stop. I can't do it. I gotta stop y'all right there.
Go ahead.
We are in a crisis athletically, dude. Have we forgot what 0-22 felt like when we were really at rock bottom and not just football? We are in better shape than most any HBCU that you can name in athletics. And don't give me Jackson State.
But we are
don't
not.
do that.
You want to be fair?
You want to be fair?
We are not playing against
you.
But we're not playing against other HBCUs now. We're playing
exactly.
against
that is a testament to where we are as a program and a university. It just is. Saying that we're not.
Yeah, they would have come. You're right. You're right. They would have come knocking if we didn't have something going for us.
They would trade for Earl Hilton right now. Any HBCU in the country right now would take Earl right now, and not just HBCUs. And I don't want us to get to the point where we are not thankful for what we have, because we could be in a much worse position. And guys, I'm only saying that not because of how I feel about Mr. Hilton. It's because of how I felt about when we were in the pits, and I know what that felt like. And our conversations that we're having now are spoiled children conversations. They're not bottom of the barrel conversations.
Listen,
we're complaining about our stadium, our baseball stadium, that we know is about to get some renovations, right? That we know is going to get improvements.
I don't know that. Because
Craig came on here last week and talked about the reasons why the renovations haven't taken place yet. We got to go through some red tape with the government. We know that. Of course, it's not happening at the manner we want it to. I'll take the baseball stadium as one thing. That's not a fundraising issue or something that has to deal with us not moving our feet as an athletic department, right? We know that. Baseball is one thing. You want to talk about attendance and ticket sales and butts in the seats, that's something that we believe we have good ideas on that we can implement and add to the university. That's one thing. But to say that we're not doing our job from an athletic director standpoint, bro, I've seen Earl Hilton catching field goals at the game. He caught the 50-something yarder the other day. Man, I'm telling you, we could be in such a worse position, guys. And I don't want to go back there, right? If Earl Hilton left today, who the hell will we replace him with? That's going to take us to the next level. Nobody knows anybody they can say for sure is going to step in here. And don't give me prime time unless you're going to go get Deion Sanders who's going to flip your whole athletic department, right? You can't name another HBCU that has maintained steady success, right? And we're not talking about
20% of the
gate. Man, we're talking about continued success. And that's coming off the heels of our lowest point as an athletic program in school history. So I will take a couple lumps here. I'll take a couple butts missing from the seats. I'll take some L's in basketball. Listen, just in the last year in basketball, we've had to deal with hiring a new coach unexpectedly. Like, things come down the pipe that could rip your athletic department to shreds. Aside from money and fundraising, there's things that happen every day that could typically get most athletic directors fired, right? Like, okay, somebody's head's got to roll because this player did that, right? Things that don't have anything to do with the person in that seat. Just the fact that you can wake up every day and somewhat manage that and not run us off the deep end and get along with the chancellor and not be beating your own chest and trying to find your next job, right? That's what most athletic jobs are, stepstones to your next athletic director job, right? We haven't had that issue, and that's the one area of stability that we've had that is just as responsible for the applications coming through admissions, right? We talk about A&T and where we're going as a school. We have to tie that directly to the success we've had in athletics. It's no question about it. Celebration Bowl success, applications go out the roof. Well, somebody was running the athletic department.
Okay, Billy J, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, jump in.
Okay. Now, you know me, I always look at the positive side of it, and I'm going to go along with what Doug said as far as athletics and all the other sports, and we're concerned about the basketball. Think about it. Our track team is, everybody knows how our track team has been doing. That's a plus. That's a positive. That's been getting, people.
Best track program you had, in whatever.
In years, right. In years. And I used to say this on Facebook. You're right. And you say this on Facebook. Not only are we known for our football team doing well, our track team is, we got Olympic gold medalists. You ain't got to say nothing more about that. Olympic gold medalists on our team. That says it all. But we got other sports that are doing well. And I think a lot of people have overlooked this sport. Look at our women's bowling team.
Bowling.
Our women. Yeah. That's one thing that's really been under the radar as far as Aggie athletics is concerned. We really got to come out and fully support our women's bowling team. We're like ranked nationally. I think last year they were ranked like 4th in the nation. 4th in the nation, guys. We got a Hall of Fame a head coach and Kim Terrell Kearney. Everybody's overlooking that. So if you follow people that follow bowling, I mean, we got a gym right here. We had a gym in our track and field football coach I forgot his name. Ross. Okay. Yeah. But in Ross. But we still have a gym in our women's bowling team in Kim Terrell Kearney. She's a Hall of Famer legend. So I mean, just that, on a positive note, we got some things going. Definitely got some things going. A lot of good things. So, just follow our women's.
And let me.
You're right.
Let me double back, Doug. I think we're in agreement on the accomplishments that this university has had. Let's go back. Start in 2011. That's when Hilton and Broadway both were hired on. They both their tenure started on the same day, right? 2011. And you see what we have, the unprecedented success in track and field. Had a strong showing in women's basketball and men's basketball through that time. And then, of course, we had the golden era of our number one revenue sport, football.
We won a MEAC championship in baseball, right?
Yeah. So it's not far-fetched to say Mr. Hilton has been definitely the most decorated athletic director that we probably had in school history. If you want to go look at a resume, okay, and that's no way. I mean, I'll be insane. I'll be totally hypocritical to try to discount anything that has been accomplished during that span, right? Okay. There's not even a but. It's this appendix to that. My thing is the job that Earl Hilton and Broadway were hired for in 2011 does not currently exist in 2022. Okay. And and I'm not saying I'll never use this platform to say we need to fire this person or that for it. I'm saying that we have to understand that it has to be a growth or a addition or a shift into the way we do business in 2022 to understand our new reality. If we were still playing the MEAC and opponents every year, okay, then a lot of my concerns I wouldn't even waste time with, because I know we're still going to go to Celebration Bowl and we're still going to be HBCU national champs and we're still going to have that type of, feel good success. I did not sit here in April and tell everybody I'm going to have a town hall meeting and that single-handedly, Samaj Marsh, I'm bringing this program to the CAA, okay? That was not my decision. Our leadership decided that. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have faith in them. That's honestly, I'm not just going to say that's, it can happen. I'm going to have faith and I'm going to listen and I'm going to see what they say. I'm going to listen to their words. I'm going to listen to their presentation, right? And I'm going to hold them accountable. And then I'm actually use my sense that A&T education I have, and I'm going to say, okay, how is this going to work? And I don't think that we're being bad alums by asking that question, because the clock is already ticking. We started being a member of the CAA July 1st. Okay. The previous year in men's, in baseball and softball, we were dead last in Big South. To my knowledge, and I don't have the books in front of me, we have not had a significant resource increase in either of those sports. We're about to go to a 3 times tougher conference with baseball and softball. And Billy J, you talked about bowling and these other Olympic sports that get overlooked, okay? So all these sports outside of football, okay, they're going to have to go against these programs with these elaborate resources and facilities. And I just don't want to have, and I wouldn't even have such a passion in my voice if not for one Harold Martin, who no one respects him more than me. Okay. He stood up there and said that he would not have us looking foolish. We would not be the one-legged man in the ass kicking contest. Okay. He was going to give us resources. He said 25 million. That was the number he floated out there. Okay. Dooms, you immediately said that's not enough. But that was more than what we've been spending, right? So he said we got to increase.
You got to crawl before you can walk. Like it'd be.
I understand that.
Say,
but
we can shoot for the stars, but it'd be unrealistic to say no. We don't want this many. We want that many, and just being realistic. Like at some point, I would hope that someone has done some research and said this is what a realistic goal is, or what we need to shoot for, and that goal may be, over the top for what our history shows. But at some point, you got to start. And I really believe, and you guys believe, that once we get that ball rolling, that when the light bulb goes off and we get a few folks to say, you know what, I can throw this in the pot, that we're going to get it rolling, right? That the potential is there. We can at least agree that A&T has a ton of potential, right? More potential than anybody else to really get the job done, in my belief, right? I don't know what it's going to take.
But I agree with you. And like I say, and I said this on social media. You say, even when I criticize, I said they might not be great communicators. I said in the same sentence, they are men of action, right? And I'm also a man of action, okay? We tried Dooms. How many years ago did we have a meeting in Dowdy? I took off lunch, okay, my job, walked over there, and we tried to set up a meeting to talk about a initiative that we could just use our platform to do fundraising at the grassroots level, okay? The next callback I get from A&T will be the first callback, right? Okay, and so that's where I'm skeptical on when you talk about this waiting for this baseball stadium and you talk about all these resources, $25 million. Okay, I know firsthand that we have tried. They take money out of my debit card twice a month, okay, for the 1891 club. The next time that somebody at A&T who works there even says 1891 club will be the first time. Okay.
And that's a problem.
It got so bad that the person that I brought on here was a member of the AAF. I don't want to put his business in the streets, but he got fed up. That's why he's not even pushing anymore. Okay.
And that's a problem. When you're trying to give the school money,
I'm literally trying to give you money and you can't even show me enough respect to take my money without, and that's crazy. And so you talk about let's have patience and we're going to get this thing fixed. I'm just saying I want to see it. Okay.
Well, I got a couple of points. One,
okay,
Doug, thank you because you gave me a different perspective.
Yes, sir.
I was rolling with.
Yes,
I definitely appreciate that.
I do too.
I realized that's probably the way the athletic department is seeing it now, and it's a sound way to see it because it's the truth. My other point is, again, as you go, we've done a lot of changes in a short amount of time. And Doug, I like what you said about who is better situated to be able to handle it. That we're the largest HBCU. We are the largest one. There is nobody else who would be better situated to do it. Now, my problem is when we say we got to crawl before we can walk. Jim Rennick, rest in peace.
Yeah.
He came to A&T. He said, I got more money in my back pocket than y'all have in your endowment right now. We're going to do something about that. He planned it, and that endowment went boom,
right.
Just like that. Mm-hmm. Just like that. It can be done if you put the right people in the right places. I don't know. In fact, I'm pretty sure we're understaffed in a whole lot of areas. And we need to fill those staffing areas so we can properly go about raising the money so that we can have the proper support systems in place. I honestly believe it would only take hiring one fundraising individual to look and say, what is all this $18.91? What is that?
Yeah.
You guys haven't followed up on this? This is practically free money. What are y'all doing?
Hold on a second. Doug, my phone number is 336-772-7791. Somebody at A&T. I have a website. It's not that big. I have a YouTube channel. It's not that big. I have a small Twitter account. Not that big. I will use every part of my platform to help promote this giving program or any other giving program that I can. You can just give me the digital marks and I'll put them on our website. on our fan forum. I have mass email for everybody who signed up for our website. I'll send the email blast out myself. Okay. All you gotta do is just let me know what you want. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dooms.
Yeah, I mean,
Right, man.
why I say it's kind of crisis mode because the CAA that ain't no play game. That's for real.
It's not.
And we're still trying to do kind of fish fry stuff. We've got people. I'm assuming. So correct me if I'm wrong, but we've got the athletic department's understaffed. We've got people not doing certain roles, people doing multiple roles. It's the same crap we were doing when I was a freshman back in '90, taking a shower in Scott, trying not to get greased, with no dividers in between the daggone shower, standing there butt naked every day. It is 2022. I push a button to start my van. You understand? It's changed, but we're still doing the same stuff. We have got to modernize. We've got to have proper supports in place. I've said on the board, using the football program as an example, when Coach Broadway retired and we lost Coach Hester, we lost that institutional knowledge. We lost a whole lot of experience. Our defensive coordinator became our head coach. We lost his experience solely on that side of the ball. We did not replace it.
That's a great point.
We were bound to go downhill. There's no way we shouldn't have immediately brought in somebody who had been a head coach somewhere and somebody else to give Coach Washington some additional help. Instead, we spend 1 week stabbing them on the daggone message board. We spend the next week like, well, it ain't so bad. And to this day, he really still has, in my opinion, does not have the proper staffing. I like the coaching staff. I think they do a wonderful job. They do an above average job considering what they're paid, what they have to work with. They're phenomenal. I mean, they put people in the pros almost every year. They're competitive in almost all their games, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But at what point does somebody say, hey, I'm looking over here, and over here. A lot of these other coaches I'm coaching the kids against don't have to do double duty. Is the equivalent of 1990 when I was signed up for a golf class and one of the football coaches was the instructor because they had to be coaches and they had to have classroom duties too.
Dude, you're 100% right, man. That's why you guys hear me on here really advocating and pushing for the coaches because, like you said, how much they do this in the average job description for, a college coach. And we're asking them to do all that. We're asking them to win. And we're asking them to, be great role models and raise these young men. So, that's
we ain't asking them to do none of that. We're telling them.
Yeah. That's part of course. In a lot of HBCUs, not just A&T, but in our books, that's what makes a great HBCU coach, right? You got to be able to do all of those things, but
well, guess what? We're going to CAA.
and I'll say this. You know what? A&T administrators, everybody who's watching me and seeing this is how you can shut me up, okay? And here's a compromise, okay? Next week we got a homecoming. We're gonna have a packed house, right? We got electricity in that building. We got a scoreboard that runs electricity. If you just put one message on that scoreboard that says, here's a barcode or here's something that you can automatically go to donate, then I'm not going to say anything else about marketing for the rest of the year. That's my promise. If you can put a message on that scoreboard, you got 1 week. Actually, you got a week and a half because it's already Wednesday. If you can find some way to put a message on for that captive audience in which everyone in that stadium can get a quick way to reach your donation, either by text message or whatever, their phone. If y'all can find some way to do that, I ain't gonna say nothing else about marketing for the end of 2022. That's my promise.
Hey, help me out.
Yeah.
I was an English major, so my math is worse than yours. If you convince 1,000 people to join the 1891 club, how much is that a month?
Oh man, I got to calculate.
$18,910 or something like that.
Probably. You gonna
a month
and
a month.
I haven't even checked the thing, but I know we're probably over like 25,000, and this has been like it's almost like persona non grata. Like we got a live fundraiser right now where people can donate. You sign up one time, it takes out your debit card. You don't think about it. I signed up twice, so I got two 1891 club memberships. I forget about it, and I think we probably got over like 25,000 already, and that's just from nobody saying anything else about it except people on this YouTube channel. And imagine
this. I
and it
got
works.
1891 club membership, and I decided on my own. I graduated in 1996. I give 1996 a month to the English department. I'm like, this is an idea. Hopefully, maybe if nobody in athletics will do it, maybe somebody in the English department will figure out what I'm doing. They haven't yet.
but here's what I don't understand. It's not like 20% goes to Craig Turner and 15% goes to Doug Brown. All of it goes to A&T. Why would you not want to promote something that's going to A&T?
Exactly. And you have to do no work to get the money. That's the killer.
Okay. So that's all I say. A&T. I'm not gonna say anything about it. I'm not gonna call anybody out. I don't do it anyway. But you got a scoreboard. You got a captive audience. You got people who are gonna be looking at the scoreboard all day on Saturday.
You know what's gonna have to happen. Somebody gonna have to walk in. About 3 or 4 people have to walk into the little scoreboard thing and just start busting heads and then put it up on there themselves.
I tell you what, Dunes, man, you by far my favorite poster on the site, man. Have been for a long time, man.
I'm sorry, then.
Perspective you bring. Love the way that your play on words. I love just how you deliver the information, right? And long before I knew, who was behind the face, like I got a long time ago, man. I always appreciate what you brought to the table and your perspective, man. But you're right. You're right about a lot of things. You're definitely right about what's facing us in the CAA and what's down the road, and it's gonna be a mountain, and it's gonna take a lot to get there.
But no, Doug, for real, hey, thank you for having that perspective, because you kind of brought me back from the ledge a little bit, because I was about to go. I was about to get crazy, and so that was needed, and that's why we have That's why we have this platform. This is an honest discussion amongst people who care. I mean, it's down. What time is it? 10 o'clock at night. I should be watching some baseball, and I'm talking about tickets and scoreboards and giving programs at a college. Okay.
Guys, we all want to see A&T at its best.
That's it.
We haven't been there yet. Even when we were on top, think about was, man, look how far we can go. We were looking at this place should and it's still in our mind. And I give you guys a hard time about wanting to see our stadium packed out. We want to see that because we truly believe the stadium should be packed every single game. It's not outlandish. We look up the mountains at Boone and say, hey, we beat that team consistently, right? We want that same excitement at our games. We want our stadium to be full, right? We look down east, but we're not thinking about East Carolina. We went down there and handled business too, but we see ourselves in that program, and I think we're gonna get there. I don't necessarily know if the road's gonna be straight or it's gonna go or who's gonna be driving, right? Who's gonna get us? Right. But we can get there, and I think the biggest portion of that is continuing to see the school grow and having success. And you guys realize that success is attributed to athletics. And that's why you guys are so passionate about how, hey, these are things winning programs do. This is what's going to take at this level, right? We, like you kind of said, we've done the fish fry way. We're pretty good at the fish fry. We know how to get it done on that way. But that's not going to get it done on the next level. And we don't want to be that group that's embarrassed when they come down and take a peek at War Memorial Stadium in the first baseball game. We can't always sell it on the historical aspect of the stadium because that's all well and fine until the toilets don't flush, right? You're like, well, I want to take a shower before I get back on this bus and get on this. Yeah, we have a state-of-the-art electrical system, lighting system in the stadium, pro stadium lighting, all that, that's good. But that they don't always attribute to recruits, right? And we shouldn't ask coach to have to do a lot with a little sometimes, and that's kind of been the way we've done things at A&T. But on the other end, I look at the success of the school. We are growing. It's a beautiful campus. And I think it's just a matter of time for athletics catches up because the university has stated that they know how important that is, right? If they didn't know how important it is, and we had some folks that showed that they couldn't lead, because I look at Earl and Chancellor Martin's window from 2011 until COVID, right? Right. Don't look at it up until after. What's happened in the last 3 years, and we're not the only conference or school that had to make a change with conference. And decide to do something in a whim, right? We see UCLA and Michigan, schools on that level. Texas, they're making changes, right?
Yeah.
So we're kind of mixed too. The fact that we're in that mix on the FCS level, we talked about it. Those were dominoes that fell because of James Madison and the schools above them that fell. So we kind of got stuck in the post-COVID era of what we're having to do, and we're all kind of figuring what that looks like. We're just keep on swimming, keep paddling. But up until that era, we had a pretty good hold on things, and we were trending, as the young folks say.
Right. But you know something, Doug, and we gotta get out of here pretty quick. But look here, I think I might cut up your little. I want to call it a rant, but
soliloquy.
Right, but because that was important, and that no, listen, but really that was important, and that was what I call effective communication.
Absolutely.
Because me and Dooms were about to act a fool for the next 10 minutes, but then you stopped all that real quick, and you had some serious facts. They're irrefutable, right? You brought us back to the basics on where we came from, how much we accomplished, and why we should have a little bit of patience and faith in the direction of our leaders take us in the future. I just wish they could communicate that, right? And so I will put that. I will use my platform. I'm gonna use my platform to promote that message because I think it's important, and I like to have balance. I don't want to just be one way, okay? Because I don't know everything. So most of the times I do, but not always. But I want to have that. I want to have that give and take. I want to have that balance, right?
We definitely have to go back around quarterly to kind of see where we stand and see if anything's changed. We may have to review these shows and save these.
Yeah, right.
What happened then? What happened then? And this is now. So we'll see, man. All right.
So Craig, so Doug, Dooms, give me one more thing, and then Craig, you take us out because we gotta get out of here with the last word. So go ahead, Dooms.
All right, two quick things. One, I give credit to Mr. Hilton because he was prescient. He saw the changes. You know, when they had the slideshow thing back in April, he saw the landscape, and he was able to move us not once but twice and get us into one of the top conferences. Which, who here thought we would ever be in the CAA at some point? You know, and he saw it and he made the moves.
Right.
Whether we wanted to be there or not is that's neither here nor there. Now we're there. Right. The other thing is I'm hoping and I'm praying that once we get there, once the chancellor and the athletic officials start to go to the different schools in the conference as we play them and see what we're up against firsthand, they'll see maybe 25 mil was a little on the short side.
For real.
You know what I mean? And they'll start to, and I would really like to see us push for the monies that are owed us by the state. And if it's possible, I don't know if it's possible or not.
Hold on, so you're an attorney. Why can't you lead the show, lead that push?
I do disability law, homeboy.
You've been chasing ambulances in day too. Don't front.
I do disability law. Otherwise, I would have been on it. I've actually tried to contact a few people here in Maryland who were in on it. I haven't heard back from them yet. I'll have to try to chase them down again. And they could tell me how Morgan did it, and go from there. And Morgan is looking fantastic right about now. But I'm hoping we could take some of those monies and bolster the athletic department, and in turn, even if it's a loan, and then in turn, the athletic revenues can be paid back over time.
Yeah. So Craig, man, take us home, man. Give us that good word so we can sign off here. Put a bow on all this.
It's been a real interesting. Yeah, I've been listening really because I'm getting feedback from people other than myself and my wife and a few friends, and what you guys are what the arguments that are being made and tonight are no different from what I hear from AAF members, but I think the general consensus is that we're in it. We just got to find it. We need to move as quickly as we possibly can to upgrade our facilities, because that's our number one ditch point.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the CAA and being competitive, the staffing is an issue that has got to do more so with finding the right people to fill those spots. I don't want to see us go out and hire 15 people and they can't chew gum and walk at the same time. I've seen that happen at too many HBCUs. We got to get if we're going to do this and we're going to staff those 15 people going to the CAA, we got to get the best people that we can possibly get. That part I'm not that overly concerned about, but it's about facilities. That's the arms race in college athletics, and it has been now for going on almost 2 decades. And we are woefully behind in that. There's no question about it. And we've got to make some major moves. We got to make some major decisions about capital improvements. And it's going to have to take some creative financing. It's going to have to take some reprioritizing some things in our budget to make that happen. But that is the one thing that we've got to bring online immediately. So. But other than that, we got a game coming up Saturday, and that's we'll take care of Robert Morris and go from there.
Where are we going? Moon Township. What's the name of the town?
Moon Township.
I tell you what, guys. Quick note. I don't want to go unnoticed. I'm really glad the weather dipped this week and we're able to get some cold weather practices in.
Oh, good point, Doug. Yeah, that will help us.
It will help us.
Yeah, well, the weather's going to break by this weekend, so it's going to be in the 70s up and down the East Coast. So,
wow,
it'll get us ready for November, though.
It's ready, Craig. I remember we stepped up in Morgan State that year, and it was about 40 degrees. In our minds, we hadn't had a below 60, and that 40 with wind felt like 25 up in Baltimore. Me and the wife head back to the car from the bleachers, and I saw the guys, and when I saw the offensive lineman with hand warmers on, I was like, "Oh no, we in trouble."
That's a bad deal. That's a bad deal.
Sleeves on, and we kind of played to that, right? We never kind of got out the blocks.
Yeah.
Times until you kind of had that first cold practice and get ready for it, it can shock you. Even a little cold, a little 60 degree in up in Pennsylvania, Craig. The guys come out there. That's something that can throw you off. And we saw Campbell get off to a slow start against those guys. And not a slow start, but a not so fast start. So you want all things going in your favor. So shout out to Mother Nature, the man upstairs, for giving us some cold weather practice. Build some toughness, right? We're gonna see who really wants to go out there and hit somebody when it's cold. And that's just another one of those things that builds character with your football team. So hopefully we take advantage of it, and we're ready to travel and go up there and win a football game and come back down the road and get ready for G-Hub.
All right, so real quick, big news, Doug. You'll love this. Astros winning 4-1 right now in the bottom of the 7th. So looking good for us, for the home team. So we gotta get out here because it's like 2.5 hours, and I gotta do some stuff. But check this out. Everybody, we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do next week. We got some kind of a monkey wrench thrown up in our big plan we had next week for a homecoming show. We're gonna try to work something out. So stay tuned for that. Everybody who's going to the Pennsylvania area, Pittsburgh, around there, greater Pittsburgh area, please be safe and go through those mountains, take your time. Hopefully those boys are real prepared. We gotta get that W, because I really want to have that get above 500 before we come back here for G-Ho and had that knockdown drag out with Campbell. But for my best friend and the godfather of my son, Mr. Dooms, of course, Doug Brown, and the president, Craig Turner, and our first a couple guests here. We had Tre Small and legendary Stoney Polite. I am Samaj Marsh. This has been a super action-packed, passionate, emotional episode of Inside the Valley. And Dooms, you gotta come back again, man. You a great addition to our little 3-man group here. So we'll have to find some more ways to get your thoughts on some subjects.
Well, it's somebody's practice every night of the week. So.
Yeah, we have to work it out. But until then, I'm Samaj Marsh. This has been Inside the Valley, and we will see you next week. Peace. Thank you, Pride.
I get pride.